Hello, everybody. What's up? Welcome to Fun Speculation. This is Xbox Ultimate Podcast. My name is Mav, and we're going to have a blast tonight. Got a lot to talk about. Phil dropped some crazy bombs on a kind of funny XCast interview the other day, and looking forward to diving into that, as well as maybe some Xbox showcase discussions. Maybe some more talk about Redfall, this whole fire Phil sentiment that's out there, craziness going on. Lots to discuss. Looking forward to it. And I'm happy we're going to have an amazing panel here to discuss this with. I don't know what's going on with Bob down there.
I had to have a placeholder for you.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's very awesome. Looks just like you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we have an awesome panel here. Pong's on his way. He'll be here shortly. Bob is joining us again this week. He's been out doing comedy shows the last couple weeks, which is pretty damn awesome, I have to say.
Touching grass.
Yeah, touching grass, living out there in the real world. It's crazy. Fuzzy's with us as well. Let's just start with saying hello to the panel. What's up, Fuzz? How are you doing?
Not too bad. No naps today, but nonetheless, having a good time today. Glad to be here with you guys. Played a little bit of Redfall. I'll wait until they do some patches and things like that. But roll credits on Jedi Survivor. Good story, predictable, but still enjoyed it. Graphically, I went back to Fallen Order. It almost seems like, even in quality mode, it's almost a step backwards. But maybe it's just my old eyes. I don't know. But a lot to get into. Let's do this.
Yeah, right on, man. How are you doing, Psycho?
I am doing fantastic, y'all. I have been kind of busy today.
Yeah.
First, I went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it.
You like it?
I'll keep that to myself.
You can't say if you like it.
It's all right. It's all right.
I mean, is it compared to the second one at least?
Second one was ass. So
yeah, I like the first one. The first one's amazing. Second one's good, but
is it better than the second one or worse than the second one?
The second one had more meaning than this one. This one kind of was like it's the last one.
We'll just move on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to get into it. I mean, you guys watch it, make up your own decision. But it's all right. It's a popcorn movie. James Gunn directed it, so you know what to expect for that. But yeah, and also I made a Starfield cup today. I posted it on Twitter. If you guys want to check it out, look me up at Psychonauts 8. It's pretty damn cool. It's glow in the dark. So I posted both images, so if you guys are interested, take a look.
Yeah, do you have it in front of you?
Yeah, but it doesn't.
I won't show because of green
thing.
screen. Yeah, you can see decently.
There you go.
Yeah, it's an awesome cup, man.
Oh yeah, it's a 23-ounce tumbler.
Yeah,
so enough liquids.
I got
it. 23 or 25?
Tumbler too.
25. It's a 25. It's a 25 skinny, they call.
That's awesome, man. I thought it's really cool that you know how to do that stuff too.
Yeah. So I can make quite a bit of them. So yeah, that looks nice too. I like that tumbler you got there.
Thanks. Yeah. I forget who it was. Somebody else had gotten one from the community. But thank you guys if you get any of this stuff. I think you should sell your Starfield cups, Psycho. We were talking about that because they're pretty damn awesome. I think I would want one. So
yeah, I mean, I could do anything. Halo, Starfield. Maybe some of you like Redfall that much. I can make you a Redfall tumbler. I can make ponies for the ponies.
Yeah.
So.
Just don't put any bugs on the Redfall tumbler. Okay.
I'll try not to. It might malfunction.
There's a print error.
Print error. Incomplete print. Hey, Jasper, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I've been playing Redfall. It got a little better. Still not the best game, but I've been enjoying what I've played with it. Again, not the best game, but I'm like 26 hours in. I've beat it pretty much 3 times. There's co-op achievements, so I've been double boxing. I've been playing on my PC and then I have my Xbox on the side monitor,
right.
And I've just kind of used my co-op dude to stand still to get the co-op achievements. So I've been playing 2 players with just myself.
What is the better version so far, you think? The PC version or the Xbox?
Oh, for sure. Like, I'm not even paying attention to the Xbox version. I just move the dude when I need to move him. I don't even try to fight with him.
Yeah.
Like,
what frame rate you getting on your PC?
It's like usually like 90s, but there's some dips into like the upper or lower 70s. So it's all right.
Yeah.
I'm at native 1440p. So no upscaling or any of that stuff.
Yeah. So you're utilizing FSR and stuff like that at all, or no?
No, I don't use that. That's upscaling.
It looked really, when you gave me the tips to do that, it had a good image quality for me. I don't know what happened the first time. It looked weird, but I messed with it, and like it looked better than the Xbox image quality, honestly. I was really surprised because my PC kind of sucks.
Xbox may be using low settings, to be honest.
Kind of get that vibe. Yeah, I don't know. Like the image quality on the PC version and on my older graphics card was better with FSR 2.1 than when Kate was playing it, and I was like, this is not right. Like something is wrong here. Cause like the Series X, like console, like statistically wise with what's in it is probably like 3 times better than my PC. I'm guessing somewhere around there. Like it just doesn't
honestly
make
like
sense.
The game actually looks pretty good when you play it on high settings with like better than not HD, and everything loads in half a second and not 3 minutes.
Right. Well, how you doing, Bob?
I'm doing pretty good, staying busy. Starting to make YouTube videos again. I was just editing a video talking about some stuff this week about quality of games and stuff that I'm going to post pretty soon. So trying to figure out how to fit that into my content schedule, but staying busy. Gonna play some more Redfall on stream tomorrow, and I don't know. I've been having fun with it when I can get it to work, but it's definitely it's not where I want it to be. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about everything. But I'm back inside and ready to talk about some Xbox.
Yeah, there's like this sentiment out there. It's like the worst game ever and stuff like that, which I don't think that's the case at all.
Right.
Honestly,
I mean, even if it
like,
was, someone's still gonna like it.
Yeah, we had this amazing thread going on Twitter today that Pong had quote tweeted on, and we were kind of going back and here's the thing. Regardless of if Xbox should release a game in this quality or not, there's a lot of people still having fun with Redfall, right?
Right.
And there's people saying you can't have fun with Redfall, and that's just not cool, right? Like, so I think that if people are having fun with that, it's great. And Pong had quote tweeted this and shared a game that we talked about a little bit last night on PM the PM. And welcome to the show, Pong. We're just in the intros, so
no problem.
But we'll get into this on there was a game that me and Pong both loved that was considered one of the worst games probably on the 360.
Yep.
And it's called Two Worlds, and it's a it's kind of like it was like an Oblivion clone, kind of.
Yes, it was. They marketed it that way.
Yeah. And it had co-op on it. I had a buddy that I played co-op with it on, and honestly, like I had so much fun with that game because it was an Oblivion type game with co-op, and regardless of how the game like performance wise how it was or how many bugs there was in it, it did so many badass things that no other games were doing. You know what I mean? So it still like scratched an itch that I had at the time, and apparently Pong did too, right? And this game's got a 50 on Metacritic. You know, a 5.0.
I was going through a bunch of those Metacritic scores today, just like see what bad games I actually liked, and fucking Destroy All Humans Path of Furon got a 38. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
We used to not really
You didn't give a shit.
Yeah, back in the day, like games reviewed and like it when they didn't review well, it didn't hit. And there was first party stuff that wasn't good from all platforms.
I think
all
also
providers
like that's a social media thing. Like back then, social media wasn't what it is now. So like no one
You didn't
really
hear
talked
everybody
about
going, "Oh, your taste is terrible. You fucking aren't a real gamer. How you playing this trash? All this garbage." Yeah.
So well, the nice thing is though, we're getting to a point where you don't necessarily have to listen to reviews anymore, and that's something I've been saying for a long time. Though is like the thing that I really enjoy about Game Pass. Like one feature of it, like with like renting games harder these days, like you get a chance to try these games out for yourself and then decide if you want to buy them. So it's not all life and death or losing that $70 out of your pocket, but it's definitely disappointing like when these games come out and they're terrible and other people have to pay for them. So something's got to be done, but it doesn't mean you can't enjoy a game that is critically non-acclaimed, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's worse when it's a first party in this day and age, right? Or heavily marketed by first party, even, right?
Mm-hmm. The only issue comes into play is if you don't acknowledge the obvious problems, right? If you're just somebody who goes, "Oh, I don't know why everybody's hating on this game. It's perfect," and just because I have zero issues, that means all of you are lying. And it works in the reverse, Mav. And I know you talked about this too.
Yeah.
It works the reverse. That's the kind of back and forth bullshit that I hate. Like, I was out here praising Cyberpunk nonstop, but I still acknowledged all the problems. And just because I didn't have any as many bugs as some people,
y'all are all lying. You're crazy.
Right. No, I was like, I understand that that's absolutely happening to people. So, but you know, again, that's where you got to draw the line. But at the same point, this whole narrative that if a game nowadays, if a game is lower than an 80 for sure, it's over with. You shouldn't be playing it. It's trash, right? And all that kind of stuff. We talked about that plenty of times. The fact that, you know, this is the now running narrative that you're not a real gamer, or, you know, you're a trash gamer if you like anything that's not a banger.
Above an 80.
Above 80. Now it's getting to the point where it's like 85. Like if it's 80, it's like stupid. It's just that's the stuff that we never worried about back in the day. That's the stuff, again, that's why I played games like Two Worlds. I know for a fact I read reviews. I know for a fact I saw Game Informer's review on Two Worlds. I know I saw people talking about how many problems were, but back then I didn't give a shit. I looked at the game and I'm like, oh my God, I love freaking Oblivion. There's no other games like that out there right now. I'm going to play Two Worlds. And I love the shit out of it. And I played the single player. I didn't even
like for me back in the day, it was either like go to Blockbuster, oh, that's a cool cover and like cool backside.
Covers, absolutely.
Or it was a demo on Xbox 360 you could download before you even went to Blockbuster to like know what you were kind of looking for. So it's like
you just walk up to that game and be like, "Hey, you got a cool backside." Take it home and play with you. No, I do feel like the whole argument though, like Pong said, like the fact that if it doesn't have at least an 80 or better, like is just such a ridiculous like thing that we have to live with nowadays. Because especially if you take a look at like how Redfall's received and reviewed versus how Star Wars Jedi Survivor was received and reviewed. Like these big companies, like, are they putting pressure on these review outlets that like, hey, maybe you might not get to review our games if you don't score them well, or other controversies that have happened before? Like, I feel like it just causes so many issues when we can't be like honest with how games work now and how they can be improved over time, versus like the fact that sometimes there might be a gem that's covered in dirt, but doesn't mean you can't find things that you want to enjoy about it. You know, it's such a tricky thing.
Yeah. There's just some people that don't allow criticism. And there's some people that don't allow people to enjoy things when they have problems. There's a happy somewhere in the middle that everybody can live in and just understand that we can play what we want regardless of what anybody else thinks.
And
right?
people are going to have different tastes, Mav. Oh my God. I don't have to agree that Spider-Man for me is the greatest game of all time. If you believe that for yourself, great. I don't personally, for me, I still say it's a good game because obviously I played it and what I played of it. Yeah, it's a great game. It's a good game. But it's not my favorite all-time game. It's not the best game. It's not top 10. It's not anywhere near that. But the fact that we can all have different tastes as human beings, like, why is this a problem? Why I don't get it. It just doesn't make any fucking sense anymore how people react to other people's likes and dislikes. It's just stupid.
No, we're all in middle school. You can't enjoy anything I don't enjoy. That's
right,
how this works.
and that's where we regress to that point in conversations, especially as adults. Even when we're talking about an entertainment industry, that's what we've regressed to, and I hate it. I can't stand this stuff, and that. Man, bringing up that thread again, I can't take credit for it. I quote tweeted somebody I had never heard of. Somebody else had retweeted it, and somebody I didn't follow, and I just saw it. And I was like, oh man, this is perfect timing for this. Obviously, it was relevant to Redfall, and so then and we had just talked about it last night. So when I tweeted it, but then everybody started jumping on board, and you start looking at some of the games listed and the scores, like Jasper was saying. I was like, oh my God, did that game really get that low of a score back in the day? Because that game was amazing, right? That game was awesome. Country Gentleman just posted one, Fracture on 360. Yeah, freaking fantastic game. Different mechanics, took chances. That was a classic 360 game when devs were taking chances with all sorts of stuff. Fracture was awesome, and it scored like a 62 or 63. I was like, you got to be kidding me. That game was awesome. So that was really.
Matt was over here posting games in the 70s. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, I was just going off of games that I remember didn't score as high as I thought they should have back then. Right. And, you know, games that I defended back then for like silly reasons when the reviewers back then used to pick apart silly reasons to give these games like lower scores. I remember for two of those games specifically, and I've mentioned this before, Shadowrun and Chromehounds were two of my favorite games on the Xbox 360. I was just looking those up, dude. I was literally just looking those up. Fucking so fun and amazing and played so much multiplayer, but they got killed in the reviews for, they could have been 85s and 90s, really, with the amount that people actually loved the games. The issue that they brought up consistently in the review scores is that they didn't really have a big campaign. Or a campaign at all, and that was a newer thing at that time, right? So reviewers weren't used to that. They would get this game like, "What's this campaign? It's so short, and there's like it sucks." And like the campaign was a tutorial just to teach you how to play the multiplayer, which was the entirety of the game. And these games had such big.
I mean, that's still a problem today. Like Battlefield got shit on for that.
Dude, I spent hundreds of hours with both of those games. I literally was looking those up right before you said it. Like, those are two of my favorites.
And Shadowrun also got slam mab. I remember this specifically because when they first announced Shadowrun, I was like, oh, we're getting another RPG. Oh my God, Shadowrun's coming back. And then it dropped and it was like, what is Microsoft doing with Shadowrun? So they had the double whammy because people wanted a new Shadowrun RPG. And all of a sudden we're getting a competitive, multiplayer game, and everybody's like, what the fuck, what is this? But then I bought it still because I watched the gameplay videos back then, and I was like, oh damn, this looks fun as hell. I'm gonna try this out. Sure enough, one of my favorite competitive multiplayer games of all time. Shadowrun was amazing. It was so ahead of its time.
There's a Discord out there of people still playing it. I still got to get it to work, but there's still people playing it to this day. And honestly, I feel like it was ahead of its time. It had crossplay. Like just the class based, like all hero shooters / like Counter-Strike, it was just amazing. But the netcode was the other thing that killed it because there was a lot of lag in that game back.
There was
I mean, it's the 360. What do you expect?
We all lived with it. We still had
more so than normal. Like it was bad, but when it was good, it was good. You could like combine your abilities. Like it was super competitive. It was crazy.
Assassinations with the elves were awesome. You roll up behind people or glide behind them. You had the life tree from the ogres. That they would put down, which would heal people. God, man, it was a great.
I really enjoyed Quake 4. I bet that got like a fucking 50 or something, probably.
Dude, I still want to be able to teleport through walls in a new game like you could in that game. It was crazy.
Yes, that was freaking amazing.
Yeah, the thing had me just thinking of games earlier and like thinking about like, hey, I want to look up some of these games that I had fun
That did
with,
better than I thought.
you know?
Matt, do you ever look in the mirror and just go, "Hey, did I just have bad taste?"
Yeah, maybe. You know what I mean? I've been accused of that many times, mainly by my wife.
Best part about getting old, though, Pickle Papa, is you just don't care anymore, right?
Yeah.
I know.
He's like,
I
fucking
don't care at all.
I don't care what anybody thinks about how I dress anymore. Who the hell would I care?
Yeah, I
I'm
fucking
way
wear
past that
socks
point.
with slides, and I'm proud of it. You know,
That's an offense, and you should be jailed.
no, I like plain plain animal crackers. I'll stream and forget that I'm
That's
streaming and just fucking start
You know
munching
what?
them down. You know,
Forget I said that. That doesn't apply to Mav.
No?
Mav's got a lot of issues, and he needs to be held accountable for all those. We should judge the hell out of him.
I have fun with my judgments. If somebody wants to criticize me over my quirks, that's a blast to me because guess what? That just gives me character. Okay,
Oh, geez.
that just makes me unique. I'm special, and I'm a man. I'm 40. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, thank you everybody for the birthday wishes this week. Again, I appreciate it. It meant a lot to me to see all the messages and stuff from the community. You guys rock. It's been a good week for just feeling good about how much people know I exist because they added me on Twitter. So thank you for acknowledging my existence. You guys rock. But yeah, Redfall, I think that it is a little different though because it is a first party game, right? So there's a different level of expectations that go along with that. But people act like they're also the only company that misses on first party games, and this is the first one that's missed in a while. To be honest with you,
Because they haven't launched any in a while.
Right. That's true. But you can't go back in their track record of the last 2 years and the games that have launched for the most part been at least in the 70s.
I think the lowest
higher.
one was like 77.
What did Ask Dusk?
Ask
Dusk Falls probably was in the 70s, I would think. I think Minecraft
I know
Legends
Still
like
posted
70.
a list or something.
So I think As Dusk Falls got 82.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Ghostwire was, I think, the lowest at 77.
Yeah.
That's
And
that's
that
good. That's
game is
considered
actually
good. Or
better
used to be
than
considered
it
good.
scored.
Yeah, like this generation, Xbox hasn't really gone down below 70 with first party, outside of Redfall. Now publishing outside of Crossfire X, I think that got the lowest score.
Yeah, that's like a fucking 20 or some shit.
That I think that got like a 59. But besides that,
I enjoyed that game. It's a bad game. I enjoyed it.
yeah, you know, I mean, some people did. I mean, it reminded me of like a Counter-Strike type style.
Yeah, I mean, that's
game.
what it was trying to be.
So, like, I enjoyed Counter-Strike back in the day. So, to me, it wasn't horrible, but I didn't like. I wanted to play the campaign, but of course, that was you had to pay for it, and I was like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna pay for it. So if no one's playing it, I'm like, I know I play the multiplayer, and I'm like, it was way different than what the beta was. So I was like, if they changed this, I'm not gonna take a chance on spend money on that game. So I was like, nah, never mind. But like for Redfall, I've played I think now 16 hours of it, and it's decent. All right,
I got more than him. I'm almost at 30.
Are you?
Yeah.
Jesus, Jasper.
It has glimpse of like it could be a fantastic game,
and
then
there's still moments of arcane in there. I've heard that. So
then it goes like away really quickly.
Yeah.
So like when you're in a house fighting vampires or cultists, game I think it shines. Fantastic. There's threat. Outside of sometimes the AI becomes stupid and runs away like you're never there. But besides that, I think they need to have difficulty levels with the cultists as well, because I can one shot them in the head. And I think
it's really weird because I've beat it like pretty much 3 times now. Like I'm using the same character because once you beat it, you get new game plus. You can keep going back through on the same character and just redoing everything. Like I've noticed like the first zone, like when I go back to it, the enemies like they're so much stronger. Like even I'm using the exact same weapon I was from the second zone, and once I come back to the first one on New Game Plus, and like I'm not one-shotting him anymore. But as soon as I get to the second zone again, I start one-shotting everybody. So it's like I don't know
Yeah,
what's happening there.
What's this I
just
hear that you can't go back to the first zone once you leave it?
Yeah,
Is that
so you
true?
cannot replay anything once you finish the missions in the first zone.
Yeah.
You just do a mission that kind of puts you into the second zone, and you can never go back to the first zone until
there's no warning about it either, right? It just kind of does it.
well, you kind of know when you're leaving, but
Right, but
Yeah.
you don't get told that you're not allowed to go back, right?
you might. I don't remember.
Okay, because
but
that's what I heard. That's a weird design choice.
Yeah.
There. That
I think
in this
I think
type of
there is a
game.
warning message at least the
Is
first
there?
time you
Okay,
do it.
Okay. Because
Um,
I just think that's a really weird design choice from Arcade. I don't
Now-
understand that.
But once you beat the game, you can replay that same character
Right.
and you start at the beginning. So
Right,
if you
right,
want to
right.
go back and pick up something, you can, and everything carries over. So
Okay. Now, have you tried any of those vampire nests yet, Jasper?
I did the first one to get the achievement, and then I cleared all of them out on the map just to see what happens,
Okay.
and they come back instantly. So I just
Yeah.
avoided them because there's no point anymore.
Yeah. Other than getting that loot where it gives you that either the blood magic or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's the nests are pointless. I mean, they make the zones a little stronger, but like
But-
once you do stuff in that zone, like you never really go back there. So it's like
But did you notice how they're almost identical with the layout? There might be
oh yeah,
couple
they're the exact same
different
shit.
variances.
A fucking wooden bridge, it's halfway broken in the middle, and then you go over top.
A
Yeah.
pool, and
Yeah.
then the road splits, and then you go into like this gas station area where
Yeah.
the heart is, and it's
Yeah.
like, what? This is the only design that they came up with. Like, this game has been in production for how long? And this is, I'm like, okay. But I mean, there are some instances where they changed, like the certain.
There's
length
like 3 variations of those nests.
yeah. But like they're almost very similar to how you get there. Like they're just a couple things have changed, and I'm just like, and then even with the ramping up the difficulty of the vampires, if you don't get swarmed, it ain't shit. So it's like, what really do they do? You know, like it just feels like it definitely needed another fucking year. That's how it feels. But it's like again, it plays in certain instances where it's like really great, and it's like, oh god, they have a great premise here, and if it was just thought out and finished, this game would have been really, because you got a games of service feel, right? That's what I got.
This was originally going to be that.
Okay.
Psycho, and what I was going to say is, again, I haven't played it. Everybody that's listening in chat or listening in the future, so I'm not speaking from personal experience, but I've been obviously listening to a ton of people talk about it, and watching videos on it and stuff. But I think that lends credence to the idea that this game was something different, and they scrapped it, and they kept part of the bones, and then started building on those bones. You know what I'm saying?
It kind of shaped it into something that wasn't going to fit the original vision.
Right. And it doesn't feel like, that's why it feels incomplete to a lot of people.
It feels like it's very incomplete. Right, it's almost it's empty, and it feels very like there's like no real threat level outside of either a house or I guess is a mission, certain things. There's just it's just like I can go in an open field if I don't, and there's nothing. I can walk, run, and it doesn't freaking. I can shoot my gun, and nothing really happens.
Yeah,
until I get closer to our home.
Right,
and if
then
there's
you might alert somebody then.
Yeah.
No, I'm just getting this impression, and like when you and Jasper were just talking about the hearts or whatever, how they repeat a lot of the same things, and I heard that about a lot of the side missions. The side missions are the same repeat.
Yeah, there's
over and over. It feels like they just scrapped, start over, and then they had to rush everything. So they just copied and pasted a lot of stuff and kind of cobbled this thing together to get it out the door, and that's why it kind of feels this. It's like you said. There's elements in there that show so much promise, and that's probably the stuff, the mechanics, and some of the level design that they had early on when they were designing whatever it was originally. And then those pieces that's still there, but the most of it just feels not baked, fully cooked. It just feels
it's like they took the easy cookie cutter generic approaches to most of the stuff in the game.
Right.
In order to
like
ship it.
The parts that are great, I would say there's only like let's see. There's 3 of those. There's like the 3 major bosses that you fight, like the levels, like the level leading up to that boss fight. That's like the best parts of the game. Like other than that, everything else is in the open world, and that's where it sucks because it's like there's nothing in between there, and like you're just kind of running around.
Would you say those levels
specialty,
are
right?
more
Those
based,
controlled levels. That's what it's about, right? That's their forte.
And I think that if they kept the games of service, I think what happened with Halo, maybe they got frightened and they're like, oh shit, if we make another games of service game, maybe people won't like it, or I don't know what the
I
thought
think
process
this is
behind
Bethesda,
it, but
so
I think this is an Arcane.
But if they kept it a game of service and delivered of what the original idea was, because like you said, it definitely feels like things were gutted from this game, and you could tell it's like it's not there, that something's there but it's not there. Like the very big, like last when it released, I played a couple hours of it and I even said like something's missing. I felt something is missing in this game, and I only played like 2 hours of it and already got that feeling like they took they didn't put in the game or they took out of the game, and it definitely, this is what it feels like. So I mean, again, we're not trying to tell you not to play a game. Play whatever you want, because review scores really don't matter at the end of the day if you're enjoying games. Like I just wish that they are able to finish this game and kind of give us the vision that they wanted, but I doubt that. I really doubt Microsoft will invest more money into a game that it's probably not going to go anywhere.
Well, they still got a DLC they got to put out, so we'll see what that does for them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe they work up to, they do both, because maybe they'll like, okay, we'll finish this, get the 60 patch. If it's tweaking the enemy AI, if it's the more immersion with different characters, different like cultists. And
I mean, the only way I think
vampires.
they change that is if they evolve this game into a live service game. I think that's the only way this thing grows, because right now with it being a single player one and done, like
they would need Rare to like, hey, how did you do this with Sea of Thieves and fix, but I don't know if that's their vision for what they wanted to do. So,
and I don't know if it is either, right? But what I will say is, with the power of Game Pass, the one thing to that point though is if they can get enough of it fixed, bug wise, performance wise, they can get the 60 frame patch out. If they can do something with the AI, right? But let's say they get the 60 frames patch out, they are so into the engagement numbers. If the engagement numbers remain steady or grow kind of consistently,
they'll support
then
it.
I could see them giving them that chance. Like, hey, Arcane, do you, like they did with Rare? They did the same thing with Rare, right? They all sat down, said, do you want to continue Sea of Thieves? Right? I could see them doing that and saying, hey, we're seeing this, engagement. Uptick. It might not be what we expected, but we're seeing consistent engagement with this game. You might have something here. Do you want to, continue to work on this and make it, maybe grow it into something that maybe you didn't think it was going to be?
And I think
that's potential
to continue the longevity of this game. What they really need to do is like, there's those like hard cutoff points where like you can't go back to first zone unless if you beat the entire fucking game and come back to it. So like, there's no, like, a lot of people aren't just going to replay the whole fucking game just so they can get back to level 2. It's like, oh, I really like level 2. I can't fucking play that anymore. So like, you need to open it up where you can pick where you want to go and what you want to play.
Yeah, like select, if they do a select chapter or whatever, if they go that route, if they can't really make it total open world. But yeah, I think they need to go, and if it does get more hands-on and we do see an uptick in people playing it,
because I'm going for 2 achievements that are in the second zone, so I have to replay the entire first fucking half to get the second zone so I can get 2 achievements. So it's like really annoying.
Like if you want to do that, I still think it's a weird design choice, but if you want to do that for the first playthrough and lock it that way, cool. But then after that, you should open it up in the new game and be
able to travel back and forth.
Yeah, go travel back and forth, do what they want to. That's what I would.
What's the over under we see a Redfall 2?
10%.
We could. I mean,
I think we see a Prey 2 and a Dishonored 3 before we ever see a Redfall anything.
Imagine that being the last thing at a show again. Hey, everybody. And we got
No,
one
what
last
they'll-
thing.
What they'll do is
Redfall
they'll
2.
shadow drop it. They'll shadow drop
Yeah,
it. like
Redfall
they
2
did.
is dropping.
Yeah.
today.
Red Autumn coming at you next year.
Yeah,
Somebody
Red
brought
Autumn.
this up. Somebody brought this up, and I totally forgot. This was the one more thing at the showcase.
It was, yeah. That was. I
That's-
I
I
brought
think it was
that
Maddie
up.
Plays was talking about that. wasn't it?
Yeah, that's insane.
I said that last night on our
forgot
show.
about
I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
that was the 2021 show that we all celebrated, loved so much. That was the
Yeah.
last thing at the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So they had a lot of faith
It looked
in this
good.
at the time.
I mean,
Well, no, it did. The fact that they don't have cutscenes, the fact that so much is trimmed out of it, it really irks me because what we saw leading up to this,
was a different.
I was
game.
legitimately, and I still am excited to play because I'm an Arcane fan. And I still like hunting vampires, and again, I enjoy games that everybody else considers bad. So I already know I'm going to have fun with this game when I hop into it. But the fact of everything we led up to this, we were even talking about this, guys, about how this game had so much potential for transmedia because the characters were so
Yeah.
cool. Like this could have easily had an anime or a movie or something made out of it.
Oh,
if it
yeah.
hit
I mean,
right.
I could like the way the story goes. You could
Yeah.
easily see a TV show with it.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
Right?
easy.
It'd
Well,
just
I mean,
be
they-
so cool.
They still could probably. I mean, Cyberpunk's anime basically reinvigorated
Yeah,
that.
But
So
as Microsoft
right.
can't do it.
Yeah.
But I do see them doing a Redfall 2, but it will be. I think they will go with their gut feeling on the second one if they can't do what they wanted to do on this one, and I think they'll do it. But like Fuzzy said, after Dishonored 3 and
well, if they turn it
only-
into a live service thing
Yeah.
like Sea of Thieves,
Yeah.
you're not getting a sequel.
The
for
only
forever.
only chance in hell,
Yeah.
in hell ever, that this would get a sequel is
Yes.
if that engagement does keep on going and they do put in more to it and it becomes something bigger that
Right.
resurrects crazy over the next couple of years and there's still a Redfall community and it
I mean-
and this is a distant memory, and at that point they would have had to still establish it within how big the game had gotten over time to
Yep.
then make it worth doing a sequel that
Right.
at that point would have hype, right? If it, which I don't think is going to happen. I feel
No.
like the odds
It's hard
are,
to see right now.
yeah, it is very hard to see right now. I feel like Phil would more rather bet on them for something else, right, than
Yeah.
something that was
well, yeah,
clearly a big failure. But like, I'm not gonna say never because you don't ever say that, but like, it's just like.
I saw
I don't
somebody
know.
suggest a horde mode, which would be freaking
Yeah.
cool as hell, I guess. With
But
the-
do you
Yeah,
trust
well,
our?
I mean,
Somebody else
with
needs
the
to
AI,
develop
you just
that, I
stand
think.
behind a.
Well,
lamp and then
right,
you
that's the
never die.
problem. Right now, I get that. That would have to be resolved, Jasper. I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
'cause
if they could move in that direction to expand it out, there is opportunity there to try and add some different modes along with some DLC. If that was the case, if that's where they start going
yeah.
towards.
But this is their first handle with Unreal, right?
Pico Tricks as a
So-
reboot would be good.
Yeah, reboot.
Let's remaster
Reboot
it
it.
right now, guys.
It's a Redfall remastered. Hey, it
Yeah.
worked for Sony.
Honestly, I
Unreal
think it
Engine
would-
5.
I would much rather them just make a TV show out of this.
Yeah.
Like
I think it would be great. I think Microsoft should still look into it because it would be funny if all of a sudden the TV show turned out to be great and actually was more popular than the game, right? And they had this new IP and they could maybe at that point turn it into something. else too
Every
as well, but-
arcane game could be a good.
yes,
TV show.
Absolutely, I agree.
the thing is
You know.
with this, like they already have like 4 or 5 seasons because each boss has its own like story you go up against in
Right.
the game. So like you could make a whole fucking season out of one boss and just
Right.
like
And there's not
It'd
enough
be-
cool vampire
Yeah.
stuff out there. It's all zombies and stuff like that. So that
All right,
was the most
Microsoft, another
exciting
$1 million
thing.
idea right here from Xbox Ultimate.
Or what
Listen
if
up, Phil.
what if they did like started doing like content that was like partnership based, right? With other, like they had a Dracula, like a Bram Stoker's Dracula type theme content content drop. They had like
if we could get Buffy DLC.
Buffy.
Oh, God.
You had
Oh,
like
my
30,
God.
30 days of night, or you know what I
Yes.
mean? You had
Yes,
like
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
different
a lot of
things.
opportunities.
There could be some cool stuff. So there's what we're trying to do is think of the ways this game can be salvaged
Could be
at
saved.
this point. But
Just like we thought of how we can get the CMA to pass things. So
Yeah.
we just go down these roads.
yeah, just start a war. That's all we got to do. You know, start a war.
Well,
with
here's the
8 days
thing.
later.
Aren't they located close to where you live?
Yeah, they are.
You need to sneak
Arcana.
into those meetings, Mav. Like,
Yeah, they're a few hours away. Austin's about like
That's
4
fine.
hours away.
Ah.
so.
It's fine.
Oh, hey,
You can
Kate,
take your
I'm taking,
business. You can just so happen to be doing business in that area. It's not a big
I'm
deal.
taking my animal crackers, Kate.
Hey, I
and
heard Arcane
real
Studio
quick.
needs a new roof. You got a leak. Let me just snoop on in this meeting.
Got my crew with me. We're gonna plant some bugs and some cameras in here real quick.
Want to know what's
Oh,
going
dude.
on here behind the scenes, guys? We gotta figure this out at Arcane Austin. I feel like they are a great studio, and like we said earlier, though, it's not just Microsoft that misses. You know what I mean? Like
oh yeah.
Destruction All Stars was the thing that exists. Okay, Nintendo even misses. Look at the last Pokemon games that came out, right? Like they were a disappointment to a lot of people. They reviewed
But they
way
sell
lower
30
than.
million
Yeah, they
copies.
still sell.
Yeah, that's,
And you know what?
it's like
Like Jez said,
disappointment, but it's
Jez said
so
today.
sad.
Yeah, exactly. Jez said that on Xbox 2 today. He said if Microsoft put out a Pokemon game, it would never be accepted. People would hate they
Yeah,
would
you're
call out every single issue. He's like, it's only because Nintendo's name is attached to it. That's the only reason why people don't
Yep.
complain.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it's still reviewed like in the low 70s. So it's
Well,
good.
to be fair, a lot of people did complain about the latest Pokemon where
Sure.
it ran at like 20 frames. So
Yeah.
But you still have
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
million. So
But that's
Um,
the horsepower of the Switch, though. That's the harness of the power of the Switch.
sorry, Fuzz.
What,
I didn't mean to.
what
cut
else
you
are you
off.
gonna play though?
The difference with those brands is the games that they publish, they've earned up so much goodwill over the last several years that like when they miss, people just like, oh well, we'll move on to the next one. Microsoft, we were all waiting for this. Finally, we're getting all these games, and then the first one of the new IPs, kind of flops. So that's the
while
why
we're,
it hit harder.
while we're here, Mav, have you guys heard Fuzzy's Nintendo theory? By the way,
What's
let's
going on?
have,
Hey, let's
let's
have
the tea
Fuzzy's-
leaves with Fuzzy.
No.
Just a
This is
second.
the tinfoil. This is the tinfoil hat stuff here.
Okay.
Fuzz,
Oh yeah.
what's the Nintendo theory? Go ahead.
All right. So the reason why I've never been a Nintendo person, and I always look at it as people follow it like they're not necessarily brainwashed, but they're like under some sort of hypnosis. And it's like Nintendo's one of the only companies that will strike you down from the sky or from above, wherever, if you use their music. And I think there's subliminal messages in their tunes. Like it's
Let me
the
play it
only
backwards.
it's the
You're the
only
devil.
gaming music where if you just like hum 3 little notes of it, you instantly remember what game that's from and the last time you played it. Like there's something there in that music that
Oh
they
my
don't want
God.
people putting on YouTube or other places, because then people will be like, wait a minute, why do I all of a sudden have this inkling to want to play Super Mario Brothers? It's like, oh, I heard the music, and it's like it's like not CIA level stuff, but I definitely believe that there's something to their tunes, that they're so protective of them because they got subliminal messaging in them. Yes, I know I'm
Bro.
crazy.
I fucking love you, Fuzzy. I
No,
fucking love you.
they-
bro.
Bro,
they
that
love
is
Havana
fucking
syndrome.
eerie as fuck, dude. That is like eerie. But I the first thing that popped in my head was fucking Zelda. And I was like, the last time I fucking played Zelda, I was like, wow, dude. You might be fucking honest on there, Fuzzy. Holy
Yeah,
fuck.
I like, because I purposely don't play Nintendo. Like Super Mario Brothers World is about the only, was it Super Mario Brothers 3, I guess it was, or Super Mario World 3 or whatever it was. That's like the only one that I know really well. And then I think Super Mario Brothers, the first one on the NES. Those two, I know the music, but every time I hear like doo 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 doo, it's like, oh, I'm in the dungeon and there's a little flame thing. And no, there's
Yeah,
something in
you're
that
into
music
one.
that definitely has subliminal messaging in it.
Or is it subliminal messaging, or you got PTSD from a childhood?
Well, no, because I was a Sega kid, and my sister and niece were like all about Nintendo, and it's like it was fun, but I always preferred Sega because of the arcade. I was the guy playing Daytona USA.
It never got me because I always
and
wore my tinfoil hat. No.
But I seriously think there's something to their music. Otherwise, why strike it down? Why never put any of your songs on YouTube? Like there's always like, gaming soundtracks that you can put on YouTube and it's not like the biggest deal, but Nintendo, oh no, you can't do that. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's a fair point, Fuzz. I maybe the subliminal message is just tricking people into thinking it's a console. The Switch is a console. You are playing a console, and this looks good. Enjoy this. Enjoy this. It's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Yeah, that's funny. PlayStation pros have it too. More expensive is better. Premium.
They have the Apple ambiance. I don't know what it is, but
yeah,
I think because Sony used to make the cameras for the iPhone or something, maybe they learned some of Apple's tricks.
I think some people just like getting fucked over by people removing features, and
they just like to pay daddy Sony. No, but I think each of the consoles though have effectively kind of differentiated themselves. Like Nintendo is like the casual gamers and it's kid friendly, family friendly, accessible.
Have you seen their store? Pickle Papa. It's not family kid friendly, sir.
Yeah, but the parents don't know that.
But the brand itself, I know there's probably a bunch of crazy shit because you got weird adults that love the shit out of Nintendo. I've got plenty of friends that no, but
game called Panty Raid.
But that's at least where they've successfully branded themselves, and that's why you'll sell 1 million copies of Pokemon because you can't buy Call of Duty on there. It's like that's the game to play it on there, or Mario or whatever it is. Like you buy that system for those games, and it has a high attach rate, so it's going to sell a lot of systems. And then Sony, on the other hand, is the pay up or you can't enjoy something. And then Microsoft is I don't know. We're having a bit of an identity crisis right now. I feel like.
Well, Phil's trying to identify
we're circling the rim of the bargain bin right now. Is what people would like to think, but I mean, Xbox is trying to establish itself like outside of the console space because they've seen that they need to create their own market, which the console is one piece of, and we don't necessarily rely on just the console. Like, I mean, I play more of my games on a PC, so I'm a complete fraud myself, but I don't know.
That's an interesting point because Microsoft's like their strategy is to try to tackle every single one of those competitors all at the same time. Like they're going after Steam with PC, they're going after Nintendo with like kiddie games, they're going after PlayStation by being that premium console. So like maybe they're too spread out and they need to just kind of focus in. I don't know.
We talked a little bit about that last night, how much harder it is to manage when you are spread out, right? Because the other companies have that almost like an advantage because you are so focused entirely on one, for the most part, one ecosystem. And like Sony's trying to get out of that. They're like 90% PlayStation, maybe 10% PC right now focused, but that's growing on the PC side. But
they found out if they put their games on PC that they'll sell.
Yeah, and that's going to shift, and you're going to see it grow, and they're trying to start establishing that PC audience now, right? But like, it is an advantage to have such a dedicated focus in any company and anything because you have way more ability to control things and to structure things, and when you have the cloud and you have mobile stuff and you have PC and you do have the console and you have this and you got to make the experience great for everybody, right? You can't and we'll get into the interview in a minute, and I think this is part of why Phil was talking the way he did a little bit, because when console specific questions are asked, he's like, hey, we're more than that, we're everything kind of, and it's trying to say that we got to do work in these other areas as well. Like they've been having a heavy focus on PC lately. They still have a lot of work to do. I still think the Xbox PC app kind of sucks, right? I'm not a huge fan of it, but it still is better than it was. It's a lot better than it was, and they're still improving on it. With Microsoft, it is a bigger task, right? It's a much bigger task than Sony has, than Nintendo has. So it is a harder goal to accomplish. So that's the challenges with it, but I also believe it's the right approach, and it's the bigger approach that's going to bring in more players. And we've already seen that because we know there's more players in Microsoft ecosystem, right? We know that regardless of how many consoles they sell.
Yeah, it's just they don't have that identity like the other ones have
Right.
because they are so like spread out because they have everything going on and no one identifies them with one thing.
Exactly.
Right, and a part of that too is when you diversify the lineup the way that they have, and they do all these games that a lot of us think are great but are niche or whatever. I heard this conversation from a couple different places over the past week or two. Microsoft doesn't have character driven games. Like they don't have those name brand characters. Yeah, Master Chief.
Master Chief would be one.
Right,
you know.
right, would be one. But when you think of PlayStation, you can rattle off, a ton, right? When you think of Nintendo, you can rattle off a ton of. They just don't have they have Forza, but that's not a character based game. Like it's fantastic.
Marcus Phoenix.
Yeah, they got Phoenix Gears for a while, right? But Gears has lost its.
They got Blinks the Time Sweeper.
Right. They've had like the side guys. They've had the Robins to everybody else's Batmans at times, right?
They've got the arrow to the knee meme from Skyrim.
Right. That's the hard part about this. And again, I love what Microsoft is doing. Mav, you and I talked about this last night because the diversity of games and the fact that they are focused on bringing RTS and strategy and making sure those are coming to Xbox while they're also making sure that they're doing all these other games. And I love that because again, that's the type of gamer I am. But the majority, the popularity, the pop culture is
the thing
always
that
centered
identifies
around
a
those
brand.
icons.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an identity. It's a singular or a group identity, but it's not just a general identity. Like, oh, Microsoft is diverse in their games lineup. Oh, okay, well that's great. I want to be KhAOS. Like that. That's how that kind of
it's easier to market with a Master Chief, right?
Yes.
Or a KhAOS or something like that because it creates that identity, and so yeah, I get what you're saying. Ultimately, you're still gonna have, I think, a lot of people that are looking for specific types of games. And
hey, we've got Minecraft Steve.
We got Minecraft Steve. They got Banjo. I think Joanna Dark can be that as well.
Sure. Definitely, obviously.
And also I would say with
like
some of the stuff that Microsoft owns, like a lot of people don't even identify that as Microsoft. Like Minecraft, people don't think of Minecraft as Microsoft or Xbox. I think it was just fucking Minecraft. And the same thing goes with a lot of Bethesda products now. Like a lot of people don't think of those as Xbox. It's just like that's Bethesda's thing or whatever.
Yeah, honestly, Bethesda specifically, like you are the character in those games. Like they want you to be the character, and that goes the same with a lot of.
That's why NPCs are so popular for Bethesda titles, right? Yeah. NPCs become the popular stuff,
and that's fine. I love those kind of games, right?
We all. It's great.
It's interesting though, like how much pressure there is on first party stuff when they fail. That it almost creates this like false identity of a brand where everything that they ever do is like Redfall, right? And it's not the case, and it hasn't been the case for the last few years, and it's not probably. Hope to God it's not the case going forward. I mean, I don't think it's going to be. They don't that wouldn't actually fall within their track record. You know what I mean? So
why wouldn't Hi-Fi Rush, when it came out to great praise, say, "Oh, everything from Xbox is now going to be fantastic"? Because Hi-Fi Rush
people moved on so quickly from the high of Hi-Fi Rush and how great that was.
Smaller game, smaller game, smaller experience.
Yeah, we're getting high on our own Supply-Fi Rush, dude.
But literally, you can go through all publishers and even first-party platforms and find the misses. And I still make this argument about Sony, right? Sony has taken this approach where third party is equally as important to their brand recognition as first party now. Like Final Fantasy 16 is just as important to them almost as God of War and Horizon and
the
Gran
second
Turismo.
they see any negative sentiment towards a game coming out that they've been marketing with, they're like, "Oh, we're not talking about that anymore. We're done."
So if you had your you've had your misses with them. They've had their Days Gone that didn't hit that they wanted to. They've had their Destruction All Stars, Drive Clubs. Remember Haze?
Yeah.
You remember that? You know how many times did they try Killer Instinct and not have it hit as much as they wanted
Killer
to?
Instinct?
That's
Zone.
I mean,
Zone.
there's tons of times these companies don't deliver, and they try different things when that happens, and that goes into individual developers within those companies as well, right? So, but like, this doesn't create the identity of a brand when you have one miss. And that's kind of what is the sentiment that has been going around right now, which is like,
yeah, I've seen everyone
little too
being
much,
like,
you know?
Xbox needs to shut down because they had one bad fucking game. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't.
But they've been saying that for
It's over,
20 plus
pack it up.
years.
There's
It's
any
like, oh,
reason they say
Xbox, the
that.
original, yeah, they're getting out of the console business,
Yeah.
and whatnot. So
And
It's
they
very controlled. It's very controlled, Mav, when you talk about these other places like Nintendo and Sony specifically. We look at Sony, like they just closed down another one of their smaller studios today, right? Because those games didn't fit necessarily their image, right? And what they're going for. And you mentioned like kill zones and mortar storms. So it's like you were talking about before. It's fantastic to be focused because you can put a lot of effort, energy into that specific one market, right? You can become very successful.
But that
it's
market's
capped.
only going to be so
It's
big.
capped.
Yeah.
Capped, right?
Crap.
But crap.
What a crapped market. It's
capped.
crapped. Shit everywhere now. We can't do anything else.
It's really good, but you can't grow outside of that if you do that. But when you control the way that Sony does, what happened to Ben's studio, right? They made that type of game. It didn't hit to Sony's standards, right? And they made them a support studio and said, you're not going to do another Days Gone, right? They nixed Days Gone's 2 and said, you're going to become a support studio now. So having that much control certainly will give you this image that everything that comes out is always up to par, right? And that's kind of what it creates. But at the end of the day, you're also stifling creativity. You're also you're stifling all of your other teams and making them feel under the gun to make sure that they hit that quality. Otherwise, they could be on the block or they could be moved to support team or whatever the case may be. And that's not necessarily great either. I'd rather have Microsoft's approach, have some misses here and there, but have the creators have the freedom that we've seen already to go do what they do best, because then you're going to get surprises. You're going to get your Grounded. You're going to get your Sea of Thieves. You're going to get these things that you never thought would happen because other teams at Nintendo and Sony would never have been greenlit to do those types of projects. So
I see
I'd
this
rather
is
do
kind
that.
of like the 70s and 80s in the movie industry where like everyone was coming out with like unique IPs, and that like we still have those IPs today. Like this is what Xbox is doing. Like they're letting people create their dreams and their visions. So like later on we can have these unique IPs that may live on for 20, 30, 50 years like we do now, like with Star Wars and stuff like that.
And that's the thing with having that creativity that Xbox or Microsoft gives their studios, that they can make the next hit that becomes a gigantic game. You just don't know. You have to give a little to see if the game is going to be received well with gamers. You just don't know. The game, like, you know, we know with Starfield because Bethesda, but like a game that was like Redfall, if it had the time and the support that it really needed, that Phil has said that they kind of didn't give them the support they needed, that the Redfall could have been a really great game. But again, they kind of first time using Unreal Engine, and this style of game, they took a chance on it. And
I did see though that this actually wasn't their first time using Unreal. They did use it for a DLC on Prey.
Did they?
Yeah, the last DLC on Prey, they made that in Unreal.
Okay, so that's their first time.
Yeah.
They just need a
moon something.
Yeah, no, this is not damage control, people. If you've been listening to our shows, you certainly know that this is not damage control. And second of all, I wasn't saying that there has to be quality control. That's separate from what that's separate from what I was saying. They're definitely, as far as performance goes, bugs, that kind of stuff. Games should not come out in a state like we see of Redfall. But what I'm saying is the creative freedom. There's going to be games created like Pentiment that is a very niche title that not a large group. When I say, not misses, I'm saying not necessarily the biggest game of all time,
correct,
popularity wise, right? I'm just saying creative freedom to go do what they want to, but no, that's separate from quality assurance. We talked about that last night. Again, I said Microsoft's been in this business for too long. Some of this stuff that I heard in the Phil interview, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, I was like,
I didn't like.
You
some
should
of the
have
answers.
some basic processes in place after 20 years in this industry.
Yeah,
you've seen enough. I know there's been a lot of change and there's a lot of stuff going on, but there's some basic stuff, and one of them is how they didn't check in on Arcane, how they just kind of let Arcane go. Again, that's weird to me. If I bought a company for $7 billion, I'm walking into those studios and going, show me what you got. Where are we at? What are we looking like? I want to
Correct.
see the games, right? So for me,
it
that
seems
was
like all
weird.
they got is the tour of the office.
Yeah,
Be like,
and-
yeah, this over here's our copy
They
room.
called.
This
Are
is
you
where
good? Good. Right. Right.
Quality control and implementation to make sure they're
Yes.
taking most advantage of the hardware,
Yes.
especially when it's an exclusive
Yes.
to the
That's your-
brand.
that's your
should
name.
be your
That's your
first
name.
Correct.
priority
Yes.
when you after acquire. That should be like first step. Like, hey, we need to make sure that they understand exactly everything that's going on with our ecosystem and with our
that's the
technology
culture.
to make sure that they take full advantage of it, not only for their own good, but for the benefit of Xbox, because anything that they produce now reflects on us, right? So
Yeah.
that's where they miss the mark. And that
And
makes
that's-
sense why.
And that's
It-
the culture of Xbox, that you come in and you sit down with said studio and be like, listen, if you need help, this resource is available to you. Just let us know, let somebody know in management to reach out, and we'll make that happen. And that's the thing that it seemed that they did not do, and we got the result of what Redfall is, and that cannot happen with Xbox right now, and especially with ABK coming in. They can't do the same thing with that, even though that's an established studio. But again, there's studios in that within ABK that kind of been support studios for Call of Duty, and if they decide to branch out to make their own thing, you would want Xbox to listen.
With what Phil said, like if Xbox takes over ABKs, like are they even going to walk in the door and be like, well, you can change up if you want to, or are they just going to let Activision Blizzard run like it used to? Like, I don't know.
I think they will. I think.
I mean, now they
mentioned this.
might, because after what they saw with Arcane, like this is a learning lesson. But like
I
before,
think-
would they have not have done that?
This is
Well-
definitely a mistake that they can't let happen twice, I would say, because
Yeah.
honestly, they missed a huge opportunity to hit the ground running with like after the acquisition of ZeniMax, like having the first big release or relatively large release. Like this wasn't supposed to be like a single or double A game. They were positioning it as a major game leading into the summer, and they just kind of let Arcane do their own thing, and they had like a really cool trailer, but it turns out that that doesn't mean the game was dope, so
Yeah.
No,
I
I think you're right. It's funny. Rand brought this up too. Had they led off with Starfield, like we all wanted them to, had they led this year off with Starfield, and it was the game, like it was generational, it was that hit, and Redfall had come out, say in September instead, and it was this, we wouldn't be hearing as much about it. Had Starfield hit, it's just because this is the first game out the door, like
In
you
the
said,
year.
Pickle
Big
Papa,
AAA game.
the big AAA game with a
yeah,
lot
it
of
was disrupted for sure.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the impression, especially after no big games last year at all. Right, a
Yeah,
year
exactly.
and a half. This
Yeah,
is the first thing we see. Right, so
Exactly. Yeah, you have nothing in 2022 in big AAA first party games last year. So when this Redfall came out, it was a black eye to Microsoft, and unfortunately, not being hands on, that's on Phil and the team, and everyone that is supposed to be there to help support these studios and nurture them, and because they've been good up to this point. And we've seen other studios, when Rare came on, they helped, and like with Sea of Thieves, and hey, it didn't come out good. You guys want to still do it? Like I think Mav or Jasper mentioned earlier, and it's one of those things that Xbox can't afford to have a mark like this at the moment, but because now the next game is going to be even more scrutinized.
Well, the next
So
game
now-
is Starfield, or should be.
Well, we'll see if it's Starfield or Forza. We'll see, because if it's Forza, so it can miss that bullet, because we know the pedigree of that studio of Turn 10. So maybe they'll push, if it's ready, to release that. Maybe announce something.
Anyone
maybe
else
at
got a bad feeling about Forza?
E3.
no.
No.
No, Phil
Okay.
gave us the roadmap last night, during the interview, Psycho. He gave us the roadmap yesterday.
Yeah, he
did.
did.
It unconsciously, but he did.
He rolled it off like that. It was like so.
Yeah.
If we do it all the time when we talk about the games that are coming and stuff, we'll just like go in order, like without really trying to go in order. And that seems like what he did, because it also kind of feeds into what we already thought as well.
Yes.
Where he said, you know, we got Starfield coming, we got Forza Motorsport coming, we got Hellblade 2 coming, and then he's like, we have more coming after that, and then Avowed,
collections of games.
Yeah,
Collections of games.
It's
yeah.
interesting because I know my eyes lit up when I saw that, and when he alluded to that, it was, and we'll get specifically into individual comments here in a second, but that was in regards to being the finally relief that he had about finally hitting on the game per quarter that they've been struggling to hit, and the way he exuded that confidence in that moment was very reassuring for me, at least. And now they got to be quality within. They can't have Redfalls hit every quarter, right? That'd be a huge loss. But as far as the track record that they've had this year already meets within that. Besides, the quality of Redfall didn't hit, but you already have this massive amount of games coming out this year from first party. When we had Hi-Fi Rush, and we had Age 2, Ghostwire Tokyo, Minecraft Legends, then Redfall. Now
it's already a better year than last year.
Yeah, it's already kills, and they had so much momentum going into Redfall. Honestly, within this, and this was the big one, right? This was the first big one of the bunch, and it didn't hit, so that's why it hit so hard for the community. But that doesn't mean that we still don't have these other games to be excited for coming up. That seem like they've already gotten that main issue that they've had with production and releases is going to be fixed now, right?
But
so
with that said, now would they maybe see where Forza is and push it ahead of Starfield so it doesn't get that intense
I think
scrutiny?
Forza needs more time than Starfield.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
depends on how far along they really are.
He dropped it. He dropped it specifically in that order. I mean,
I know that.
It's also like
that might have been the plan up to that point, but now with the Redfall, maybe they discuss maybe okay.
He also exuded confidence in the quality of Starfield right now. Right?
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying that because they're gonna have more eyes on Starfield and they're gonna nitpick the fuck out of it.
Well, that's what you would want to
They're
come
gonna do
out.
that with
You
every
wouldn't
game,
want, like,
anyway. You know,
you would want your best game to be next, so you can show them, like, prove everyone wrong. Like, look at this fucking shit.
And
we
the
made
other
this.
thing, like, we got to realize who like Phil cares about as far as feedback, right? The people that are gonna nitpick everything for the sake of nitpicking, like the pony fanboys, like you know some of the biased media, some of the biased media, and the people that'll never give Xbox a win, no matter what. He doesn't give a shit about what they say. They already know who those guys are, right? But they care about the actual audience and fans that are going to appreciate the games and actually play them and see how they are. And I don't think they're going to feed into too much care about what the console warriors say and the biased media. He actually alluded to that in his interview, as well as, like, you know, they care about the review scores, but that's not like the only thing that matters, because they understand that everything is out of their control once it actually goes out into the wild. But he exuded confidence in Starfield for a reason, right? He exuded that confidence about reiterating that they had their hardware team or whatever that go and help Todd Howard and Starfield early on in their production of Starfield. And that, he said, they got that right. And, you know, the Starfield Direct is coming, the marketing, all that stuff. Forza, we haven't seen anything yet, really, besides just a couple trailers. Not a whole lot of talk about. We don't even know what the release date is right now. It is coming at earliest late September.
Yeah, but they also exuded confidence with Halo. So how much do we really hold on to?
For Forza, I think the only thing that worries me, and these are more of nitpicks as opposed to serious problems, because based
Yeah,
on
for
if
anybody
they
who doesn't know,
just iterate-
Fuzzy's on another level when it comes to racing games. Everybody,
Yeah.
okay? So Fuzzy thinks about these things totally different than the most people do. So go ahead, Fuzz.
I think they've already established that they're going to have the time of day change for racing and things like that. So you'll be able to it'll be an iteration upgrade from the previous model. Graphically, they're going to step up their game. So those things aren't the major deals. I think for me more so, although they kind of calmed most of it with them announcing, I think it's 500 cars at launch and something like 26 tracks or 32 tracks or something like that. So they have good starting numbers. Could they go further? Obviously, yeah. But that probably takes more time. But there's a handful of features I hope that they look at or take more time with. But I can't imagine them taking a step back after Motorsport 7 as far as like the stuff that they have at their disposal. That there isn't much room where I would say the worst case that you might have, the Sony fanboys, marching in the streets about would be, okay, the ray tracing only is good on like the 1080p
my concern with
setup or
Forza
something.
My concern with Forza wasn't necessarily based on their team or anything. It was just based on history, because it seems like every time a new studio starts a new engine or switches engines, it's always their first game is always like worse than their previous game.
I think
I don't know. That's just
For
I think
Turn 10, it hasn't been that. It's been more so they've been light on content. So it's like when they did Motorsport 5, they went to that new engine for the Xbox One, and they started with like 100 cars or like 120 cars or something. And they only had like 16 or 18 tracks at start. And they've added tracks later on and added cars. So the engine was new, but they didn't have the wherewithal to be able to push it to the limits where like towards the end of that last engine, they were at 700 cars or nearly 700 cars at launch, 30 plus tracks at launch and things like that. So Turn 10 it's been one of the better or more consistent studios, even with engine changes. It's just engine changes usually means that it's almost like a start over for content. They usually have to scale things back so they don't overload the engine. And then as they, kind of figure things out, they can, push it a little bit further and stuff.
What were you going to say, Bob?
I think that, well, I've got quite the history with Forza though. Actually, like I completed like the first 3 games 100%. Used to be very competitive with the original. And the one thing that keeps me separated, like I have fun with Horizon and everything, but I don't get as deep into those games anymore because I feel like the UI and like some of their other choices when it comes to gameplay and multiplayer really have separated the player from just having a good time and playing the game or building the cars that they want to build or racing on the tracks that they like to build. So I really do think that after the microtransaction fiasco from Forza Motorsport 7, that they've really taken a look back at everything and are also focusing equally on actual how fun the actual game is to play and building your own cars and be able to tune the cars the way you want and being able to race the way you want, as well as like just improving the online features and the ability to connect with people, because that's what was always the most fun for me. It's like, yeah, it's cool to have weather. Yeah, it's cool to have 500 cars, which, yeah, there should probably still be a bunch of cars to unlock, but it's like, I don't really care that you go from day to night. Like I miss racing on the test track oval in the original Forza, going 300 miles an hour and fine tuning a car hour after hour to figure out how to get the most performance so I could get my ELO up and get the fastest track time on every single track. And it's just like, I can't do it anymore because I don't have the time in the day, but it's like, I don't feel like I can really, like whenever I play, like, which I mean, it's Turn 10 and Playground, so they're separate, but it's like when I play the newer Forza games, I feel like the first 10 minutes I jump in, I'm sitting there trying to refigure out the UI because I haven't played for months because like I'm trying to figure out how to get back into races. Yeah, it's like I don't actually I literally spend 45 minutes in the menus and then I spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes actually racing. And I want to get back to like being able to actually enjoy those games because they're amazing. They're great games. And even like the most recent Forza Horizons, fantastic. Keep doing all the dope things that make it a pretty game. and make it work, but work on also focusing on that core gameplay experience as well is what I really hope for with this one. So
for me,
I'm hopeful for it though.
The pinnacle of Forza Motorsport was Forza Motorsport 3.
I like that one a lot.
That's where they like achieved and hit on everything that made Forza the most special, right? And they built upon 1 and built upon 2, and then 3 was like the epitome of that. And then when they kind of got into the newer generation, with the Xbox One era and stuff, things kind of started taking a little bit of a turn within it. Now they had great games. That's when they also started implementing like Top Gear and stuff into it like that, which I love those aspects. But you're right about one aspect, and I've talked to Pong about this, and you like almost like just took the words out of my mouth, man, because like Forza Motorsport for me is like the best racer, right? For period, hands down, right? Racing quality, best.
Like killed that franchise.
Livery, yeah. Livery editor, the best, everything within it. But the issues that I had the last couple Forza games was where they became more of a casual style experience, where they started throwing cars at you left and right, like candy, you know what I mean? And like it became less about trying to dominate.
We need a Dark Souls of cars again.
I had a buddy actually in the 360 era that was an original 360 era that was really into Forza Motorsport, and I played with him a lot, and he was one of the top racers, and he was like number 1 in our class in Nürburgring. Right, like he would like on the leaderboards. I mean, this guy he just hot lapped all day, every fucking day on every track, trying to optimize everything.
And that wasn't Fuzzy?
It wasn't Fuzzy, you know. I am worried about Fuzzy because I am learning a link between that guy and Fuzzy, because this guy became a conspiracy theorist, and he I'm not lying. He became a major conspiracy theorist and disappeared off the face of the earth. Like he just stopped playing games and stopped getting on Xbox.
That's why Fuzzy doesn't show his face, because he's actually calling from a nuclear bunker right now.
Like, I
used to know some crazy force of people.
These racing guys and conspiracy theorists. There's a link, man. Like I don't know. Maybe you're his dad or his brother. I don't know what's going on right now. Maybe you're him, and I don't even know. I don't recognize because it's been so long. You know. But you know, you hit a lot of great points on Forza Motorsport. I have a lot of confidence because I have felt like they needed to kind of stop on that same path that they had been on, and then take a little bit, go back to the core elements of what makes Forza Motorsport with all the other aspects as well. Because the racing they've had it hands down is where they lost the way somewhat on the others. And it's still highly rated, best rated racing games over the last generation and everything. So there's not like a whole lot to criticize. It's just talking about how to get it to be the best experience possible, and hopefully that's been a lot of what they've been spending their time on. However, I do also think that this Forza, going back to the name Forza Motorsport, is going to be something that they're going to keep updating for long periods of time. This is not going to be a yearly release or every other year release type situation.
10-year plan always works out.
I feel like it's going to be one of those situations. They're going to launch Forza Motorsport and they're going to update it over time, which for me, honestly, if it lives in Game Pass and they keep adding tracks and improving the cars, improving the car list, that's what I'd rather have. You know,
the original Forza though had such a great list of tracks though. Like honestly,
Maple Valley Raceway,
they
baby,
literally
let's go.
Maple Valley, the original test track over there hasn't been anything else like it. Like had Nürburgring, had like Mazda Laguna Seca, Road America, like it had Sunset Peninsula was the first one it was in. Like it had like if they just literally remade that game as a modern day Forza, I would be so happy now. I cannot even tell you, because like that was the game that I was like your crazy conspiracy friend that I literally had top 100 times on every single track, every single car class, because I was like 16 years old and didn't have anything better to do. So a boy can dream.
Yeah. Nice. Real quick to bring it back to Psycho's point, Psycho, I know what you're saying, and the idea is sound, right? I get if they could move it back, why it would be something that you could do, right? Here's what I was going to bring up, and it kind of ties into what Mav was just talking about and what Fuzzy was talking about too. if this is that idea that this is motorsport and this is going to become like a portal and it's going to be updated, whatever the case may be, the only reason why I was saying no is because in my head, they learned from Halo Infinite. And if they are, and Fuzzy can attest to this, Forza does have to have a consistent release schedule with new content, and to move it back a few months, especially if, let's say, the team said, yeah, we can put this out, we're going to be missing 50 cars or whatever the case may be, or this track won't be available at that point. If they did that, that'll screw up the timeline as far as DLC goes, as far as new content goes. And I don't think they want to do that. I think they want to make sure that when the initial drop of Forza Motorsport hits, that it is feature 100% complete. So that
the Forza could hide it and trick you. It would be like they could like cut out cars that are about to release, like
right. They could. But I'm just saying, I think they want the team in a good spot versus 343. Right? They don't want to They don't want that to happen where it screws up the cadence, and all of a sudden we're waiting 6 months for drop.
A year and you get 2 maps.
right, exactly. So I think that's the only reason why they might not do it. Again, it's all guessing. We don't know what it looks like right now.
Well, that kind of happened with Horizon 5. Yeah. They did push some stuff back because of like the team split that they did a few years back and the COVID stuff. And they had to kind of wrap things up as best they could to launch it at the time that they did. And then some of the things that they were hoping to have at launch rolled out like 3 months later, and it's still they've caught most of it up, but there's like 2 storyline things that they haven't added yet that they would have had before this year started, had everything going according to their original plan. But they can kind of hide it with the updates and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's easy to hide in a car game for sure.
Yeah. You just don't announce all the features right away. You know what I mean? It's as simple as what it is. You know how many times they do that? Ghostwire Tokyo mysteriously got this free co-op content update. Months after launch. Wow, we get co-op for free. That's amazing. But however, if you never even talk about it before the game launches, nobody even considers it content incomplete. Right? So, surprise, co-op for everybody. Yes. Yep. That could happen within lots of different games, and I think that's something that does take place, right? It's smart, as long as there's enough content, at launch, right?
That's what I'm saying. As long as the main package is complete and nobody's going like, "What's?"
I mean, Call of Duty does that literally every single year, and people know it.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about like the Halo had that situation too, but like Halo can't get away with it, right? Because people have these like.
That's because there was fucking 5 maps.
Every Halo
and they
has
came
to
out
have
and promised
this,
a ton of stuff too.
Yeah, they did. So this will be the most featured. So anyway, like let's get in. I gotta get to a couple super chats real quick.
We went sideways into Forza.
Yeah, I know.
we still haven't got Pong's intro.
No, we're good.
Oh, hey, how's it going, Pong? Welcome.
I'm here, everybody.
Hey, Pong.
It's great to be here with you guys. I hope you guys have been having a great show.
This was all Pong's intro, technically, actually. The longest intro in podcast history. Splendiferous with a $2 super chat earlier said, Fuzzy, a witch, enchanted the music man. That's why. So, Fuzzy, you're a witch and you enchanted the Nintendo music? Is that what's going on?
No, he's saying Nintendo hires witches.
Yeah.
He said Fuzzy, Fuzzy, a witch enchanted the music, man.
Yes.
Okay. I thought he was calling Fuzzy a witch.
No.
Okay.
He'd be a warlock.
Yeah.
He'd be a male witch if you want to be nowadays.
And then
it could be a wizard.
Yeah.
He's a witch with a stick.
Sorceress. It doesn't matter. It's all good now.
Can we stop thinking of different names for magic type people? It's like, how many magic classes are we going to come up with right here?
About 135.
Enchantress.
Enchantress. Witch doctor. You could do
Mage.
That medicine man.
Classic one.
Druid.
Yeah, mage is classic. Yeah. Druid.
Wait, that's right. It's Diablo this weekend, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
No, next weekend. Next weekend.
Next weekend.
Next weekend.
Luis Jose says Magi.
Magi, yes. Very good one. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorcerer Supreme. Alvin with a $5 super chat said Fuzzy is mystic. Sorry, Fuzzy is right. Lord Fuzzy, that damned Wind Waker. I knew it. No, Kate, I didn't say vagi. Magi.
That's something different.
Yeah, I think we got warlock.
Yeah.
You get warlock.
Magical creature. Pixies?
Mm,
No, we're not going creatures.
That's more like fairy. Yeah, that's
I could say
that's the fake
Minotaurs.
Fairy godmothers?
Opposite.
Now we're just
like-
naming fantasy
That's
creatures.
like the creature. That's like the creature version of barbarians.
Right.
Minotaurs.
I got it. I'll move on. All right, so let's talk specifically about the biggest Phil comment first, right? That he even though we're an hour and a half into the show, let's talk about this first, okay? The big comment that everybody's talking about that Phil made regarding the not out consoling Sony and Nintendo, and saying that if they release quality games, it isn't going to necessarily move the needle much as far as the console space, pretty much is what he's getting at. And also like releasing like an 11 out of 10 Starfield is not going to create a what was the exact words again, Pong?
Well, he said the 11 out of 10 Starfield was that's not going to get people to go sell their PS5s.
Right.
But the other one, just in general, he said great games aren't going to cause a console shift in any dramatic way.
Dramatic, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Right. It doesn't. So for me, he didn't say it's not going to potentially move the needle at all. He's saying dramatically, which I disagree with that as well. Because
I agree with Phil.
You agree with Phil? I'll say this here, like, if you have a consistent every quarter lineup of 90 games, like for 3 years in a row, that's going to create a dramatic shift in the needle of the console market, regardless of what anybody says. Now, can they realistically do that? I don't know, but because Sony is still going to be doing their thing, right? Nintendo's still going to be doing their thing. There's going to be a Switch 2. You know, that's going to sell like fucking crazy. It's going to be insane when that new Switch comes out. They're going to have amazing games to show, and people are going to get so excited. And, you know, Microsoft is... One thing he did also say is that, like, there's deals that Sony and Nintendo makes that make it hard for them as well. I found that interesting. But overall, I think a lot of people are taking this out of context completely, because the thing they're grasping onto is sounding like Phil's saying they don't need to make quality games. When he's talking about those specific comments, he was directly talking about making a dramatic shift within the console space as far as like outselling PlayStation or Nintendo.
Becoming number one.
Becoming out consoling them, right? He said it's not going to happen. Where the rest of the interview, if you actually listen, talks about how they need to deliver on quality experiences, and they can't let situations like Redfall happen, or how they need to address those things. Yes, there will still be games that come out that aren't going to be as highly rated, but you know, they have to deliver on high quality experiences that please and delight the fans, right? Like, that is ultimately what their goal is. And he says their plan is not to release 60 quality games as well. Hey, there's several different comments made throughout this entire interview where he talks about the importance of quality for the brand, and that they have to have better quality control. And he even talked about the individual issues that he blames himself for that they didn't get to. So people are just running with this comment because they saw somebody post a clip of specific words on Twitter and not actually watching the whole interview regarding that comment, and just completely running with this weird thought that Phil said that they don't need to make quality games, which is complete, utter bullshit and so ignorant. If you have a little mind, if that's actually what you took away from this, either that or you just want them to look bad, because it's completely the entire interview you just ignored for the sake of your either console warrior or your like insecureness and thinking about, oh my God, this is horrible, right? Like, I don't understand what's going on with the mentality of some people that they can run with that and actually think that that is what the context of what was said was, if you watch the actual interview, when he's literally talking about the entire fucking time how Redfall situations cannot happen. So I saw a comment in the chat earlier from Mark asking, why aren't we talking about that? Phil said they don't need to make quality games. I'm talking about it now. And I'm saying, Mark, if that's what you took away from it, you need to go watch the entire interview again, my friend, and actually be educated on what was said instead of just look on Twitter, or either that or don't look for what you want him to have said, because that's just such weird energy, man. And like, there's so much of that going on around there. So that's what I want to tackle first. What did Phil say? Now, I can disagree with him some. Jasper agrees 100% with him, but the context that this was taken out of is absolutely crazy, and it's running everywhere right now, and it's absolutely insanity. What were you gonna say, Bob?
Well, yeah, like you were saying, the whole time he's like talking about how disappointed he is in the fact that they let Redfall release in the state that it was, like, and then everyone's just like sitting there acting like he's sitting there bragging that they don't have to make quality games anymore. It's just completely a ridiculous argument, because he's literally upset the entire time and trying to, like, I really commend it, because it kind of made me feel more at ease about everything else. Because I mean, when you go from having like all the commotion around Redfall and like seeing how this game released, and then you sit there and we still have doubts because Microsoft hasn't built up that pedigree again of having like guaranteed, or as much as you can in this day and age, like, of great games. Like, we're getting there, but it's like we've had multiple games over the past 3 or 4 years that have released in states like this. Like, I mean, Halo is probably the one that affects me the most, because I wanted to love Halo Infinite and I liked it, but it's just not a game that I'm playing as much as I wish I could, because the development of that game suffered, and now we have Redfall that had its own difficulties. Like, the fact that he came out though and like didn't shy away from that interview, I tackled it head on, like that he like put on in place like ideas of, at least that they're thinking about ways that they can improve upon their process or pay attention to these things. I feel like it is promising. I definitely am a little bit more skeptical than I'd like to be of Xbox at the moment, but I do feel that there's still a reason to believe in what they're building, and that Phil can still bring it together, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, like, I'll just talk to the point where Phil's like, since I agree with him and a lot of people disagree with him, I agree with him, not just because like he had mentioned the digital libraries thing, but I'm going to add to that. I would also say a lot of people, like, even when the big game comes out that's 11 out of 10, a lot of people, like, if they don't own a console now, like, they're not just going to go out and buy $500 and buy the $70 game. They'll just be like, well, that's a lot of money for just one game, so I'll just wait. And then they never end up buying that console or jumping in. Now, if you're trying to switch over, I think it's even harder, because like a lot of people are like, I'm not going to switch over because I already have all my stuff, like digital library stuff. But also, it's like, I could just watch some of it on YouTube, or like if I'm really that into it, I'll just watch it and like absorb it that way. I don't know. Like, because that's what I did for PlayStation games. I didn't own a PlayStation, so I would just watch Twitch streamers fucking play the game.
No, well, see, that's the thing.
You're
like,
this
nowadays,
different generation, my friend.
I was just gonna say, here comes
Yeah.
the generational gap.
Yeah,
This is
that is a
I can't watch.
Hey, you guys leave Jasper and his participation trophy alone,
Listen,
okay?
you 20 somethings, man. I just don't understand you.
You get any achievements for that, Jasper? You got participation achievements?
He gets his Switch content
Hey,
drops.
they have Twitch drops.
Yeah, I don't care about PlayStation trophies, so no, I don't need achievements there. I got my Xbox achievements.
There used
like-
to be YouTube trophies or YouTube achievements at
Yeah,
one point
there
on
were.
Xbox.
I don't know if they have them. I
They
don't, I
should
don't
bring
know.
them back.
But with the interview, like, it's harder to get people to switch consoles if you're invested. But with this time of in this age right now, people, if they really like with Xbox, you have Game Pass. So someone that wants to get into the Xbox ecosystem, that if they have not been already, you have multiple
Yeah, they don't even need a
options.
console.
That's the thing. So they can consume that game in different ways, either buying a Series S, a PC, or if it's cloud-based, they can do it on their tablet, or if they care enough, on their phone. But nowadays it's easier to, not easier, but people have more expendable money in the except for, I should say, before pre-pandemic, they had that money to go buy. Because I bought a PS4 for
I see people saying like you're still gonna get people Switch. I'm not saying you're not gonna get people Switch. I'm just saying like you're not gonna get like
it's
100,000 people to go out and buy a new console the second that game drops. Like you may get like 1,000. You're not getting that many people.
I think 100,000 would be very easy for a game like Starfield. 100,000 like, isn't that much.
The reason why people
I feel like people with Starfield, like they'll just try to run it on the shitty PC at the end of the day for that.
Console players,
everyone has some shitty PC or laptop, and most people will just like,
if you only have a PlayStation and you only have a Switch, and Starfield, this game, it goes out, it's got like if it was like in the 9s or something, and everybody's talking about it, you see all these Twitch people playing, you see everybody talking about it, it's like overwhelmingly positive on Steam, and you see this whole trend of like Starfield everywhere. It's like FOMO plays a big factor in these situations, right? And I do think
I would say like Hogwarts is a perfect example of that. Like Hogwarts, a lot of people like that game was hyped up, but I don't think that sold consoles. I think a lot of people jumped in on that on PC.
I think it sold a lot of PlayStations.
It did sell a lot of PlayStations because the people mistakenly thought that it was a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
So they went and bought a PlayStation just because they wanted to play that game. The Quest didn't hurt either, but still, I look at it as based on his time at Microsoft, what he's saying is true. Because look at the beginning of the Xbox One generation, they had tons of exclusives at the launch. PS4 had what, 2, and an indie game from a studio that they eventually bought down the road. But when looking back at the beginning of this past generation, there was Dead Rising. There was, Rise Son of Rome. Not too far after launch, you had, Sunset Overdrive. You had Quantum Break. You had Forza Horizon 2, which was now this open world arcade racer. There are other factors that will either help or hurt that transition for people to, switch up. That was a perfect time for people to switch up if they were PlayStation centric players to switch over to Xbox, but so much of the media noise and the similar
Xbox
to the
marketing was bad at that point. They were trying to sell you a TV box, and people wanted a
people
game
had
box.
already written it off.
Yeah.
That was the problem last generation. People had already made it, like me. I'd already made my decision.
And the thing is, you have some of that similar noise going on now. Well, like when you talk about gamers' memory being short, it's like, okay, these past couple of years they've had some 80s and above, 70 score here and there on like 1 or 2 games over the past couple of years, but overall they've had
and that's the thing, like you're talking about short memories, like that's, again, if a game's great, like people don't pick it up in the first month, like they're probably going to forget about it. Like we're not talking about Hogwarts anymore, we're not talking about Hi-Fi Rush anymore, and those just came out this year.
Not a game like Starfield. Like Skyrim is still very it's very well played and talked about game. So is Fallout 4 even, and it was like a lot of people's least favorite Fallout. Like I think that there's certain, and it's not for every game. You're not gonna, like, Hi-Fi Rush isn't gonna do it, right? And it's not. And it's
honestly,
not even,
I don't think God of War did it for PlayStation.
Well, it sold a lot of PlayStations. Did you see they just broke the record for most consoles sold ever in a quarter? Right? It doesn't.
Yeah, but is that because of God of War? I don't think so.
I think it plays a huge factor.
Combination, yeah. Spider-Man, God of War. It's the combination of great games.
Yeah. So where I think that Phil is right in this is Starfield isn't going to cause people to sell their PlayStations.
No.
Right?
No.
That was obviously but they don't have to. They can just go buy an Xbox. Or where the other aspect, he was right on this, and I feel like this is where he was alluding to this, is like Jasper said, they don't need to buy an Xbox to get into the ecosystem. But I do still feel like the console market is very more. There's a lot more sales up there they can have.
I just feel like people pick their consoles not because of the great games, but because of the games that their friends are playing, which is like Call of Duty, Madden, and FIFA. those are the games that people buy the consoles for, and that they buy those because that's where their friends are. They don't care
Why
about
did Xbox ever succeed in the first place?
because there's
Because they had
another
Call of Duty
option.
marketing.
Halo.
Oh yeah, and Halo.
And then Gears.
And yeah, but Gears didn't come till later even.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
But that
But yeah, it
continued
took that, right?
Like it continued.
I
the
mean,
momentum.
And then Forza.
Those are also
having-
different times too.
Having
It
like
is,
the Elder
right.
Scrolls games on console was pretty big though too. Like Oblivion and Morrowind were some of the biggest games
Yeah,
back in the day too.
exclusives,
Yeah.
exclusive games to the ecosystem sells
Right.
Well-
consoles to the console gamer. Now, that being said, that's only one aspect, and that's where Phil's coming in with this. It's only one aspect. It's not the end all be all for Microsoft and for Xbox. It's just one component to it. So like isn't as concerned with that aspect, and that's what he's kind of getting into. He's saying they don't need to outsell Nintendo and they don't need to outsell Sony. Is kind of what he's saying, and I agree with that because they have more monthly active users than PlayStation right now, and guess what? That means you have more people spending money on the games that they're playing. You have more games that are ongoing live service games that even without the new games, there's more people playing Minecraft right now than playing any PlayStation game, period. Right? So they have all of this stuff, but they can still make, if they have a continuous release of high quality games over a long period of time, create a dramatic shift. But I feel like that the comment, like if they're going to sell their PS5s, that's irrelevant.
I will say that though console is important and still core to the strategy, Microsoft has the best strategy right now
For sure.
for being every single person's second gaming option or ancillary gaming option, because you don't necessarily have to buy the console, or you have an entry level console option, or if you have a PC, like it's very easy to kind of like how everyone who has a PlayStation or an Xbox has a Switch. It's way easier to have Game Pass and have one of those other systems than it is to also have an Xbox. So I do feel this is the reason why if they do continue to bring great games, then it will continue to grow.
Yeah. And we got to be honest here. They lose money when they sell an Xbox,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Also, we have to
They
be
want
honest
those
that
players.
the consoles numbers are going to slowly go down over the next 20 years anyway. More people are going to switch to PC and stuff anyway. So
How would everybody feel though if the console goes away though? Like, do you guys feel like that's a positive thing?
If technology gets to the point where it becomes irrelevant, then I don't care. If technology doesn't get to that point, then I do care. So it's a question that's hard to answer right now because we're not to that point yet. We're going to have to be 10, 15, 20 years down the road to be able to answer that. If
Yeah,
it
'cause-
gets, here's the thing, okay? Like, if it gets to the point where the difference in quality between like a Disney Plus 4K stream of a movie
Right.
between a 4K
Oh, yeah.
Disney Blu-ray, right?
I don't own any DVDs
Like
anymore.
you have your enthusiasts that are going to notice and really care about that difference, right? But the mass market, the mass amount of people, they don't give a shit. They don't actually know, but you can still have an audience that option for those people. So I think there's a long period of time into the future where consoles still exist because there's still that audience that they want to still maintain and cater to, because they know they will make a lot of money off of those people, right?
Right.
So they will still do that for a long time, but when it becomes to the point where nobody cares anymore, that's when they move on. And that's going to be everybody, not just Microsoft.
Well, yeah,
Microsoft
and 20 years ago, we never would have imagined that our gaming libraries would be digital, or let alone like watching, like that we wouldn't own all of our own movies or not be watching TV on cable. So
if I was to switch a PlayStation, I literally wouldn't know what to do because I would lose like access to 500 games. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to play?
Yeah. I don't even know how big my library is between like all the free games and sales and everything either, but it's just like I've just been playing Game Pass mainly on Xbox and then like buying games on PC more because of all the crazy sales that you get there. So
yeah, I think the whole notion of
thing.
switching is the whole flawed thing here. That people don't need to switch to a PlayStation or Nintendo or an Xbox. But I think people will want Xboxes more.
Right.
There are more good games there are on the platform, and that's just inherently true. And I think that's going to happen regardless of what Phil said, like, because these games are coming, right? So maybe there is a dramatic shift, and it feels like, oh shit.
Yeah, but at the same time, like the same
Hut.
people you're gaining, like PlayStation's also gonna be putting out games, so you'll be losing like equally or not, like about the same towards PlayStation when they put out their next game. So
but
it's just gonna be like back and forth.
There's about 150 million console players that play on PlayStation, right? That buy every generation buy a PlayStation console, or roughly.
I disagree.
Maybe less.
There's 150 million consoles sold.
Yeah,
I highly doubt there's 150 million actual individual players.
You want to call it 100?
Like 90 million people. Yeah,
I would say closer to 80 or 90. Like there's a lot of 2 and 3 PlayStation households.
Yeah, remember when was it Iran was buying all the PlayStation 2s to build a supercomputer back in like 2006?
So let's say 90 million, 100 million, or whatever.
90 million, yeah.
Okay, so they keep selling to that same number roughly every generation, right? Microsoft has been under that, and mainly because globally, not because of the United States, and not because of even like the UK and stuff. It's mainly been like Asia and other parts of the world and stuff, and parts of Europe and stuff. They've completely underperformed in those areas. Really, if you look at some of the bigger markets, they've been really even, really PlayStation, and actually the 360 era, they were ahead of them. But there's still, from last generation, there's still a large consumer base that left Xbox that they can still grab back. That's a console consumer, right? People like Pong that had dive back in the Xbox this generation. People, I talk to them all the time on friends list. So I think if you put the games out, you will sell a lot more consoles. And you said it's 100,000 is unrealistic. Starfield's going to sell.
I don't know the number. I was just like, Phil even said it. He said you're not going to have a drastic change or whatever it was. He said
even Diablo is going to sell a lot of Xboxes because of the marketing attachment to Xbox. Is going to have Diablo in the box. I think Starfield's going to sell an astronomical amount of Xboxes, more than any other game has this generation for them. But we're going to see, like, that's not going to make people sell their PS5s. So I agree with Phil on that, like, which I don't, it doesn't matter.
I thought about this, and obviously we talked about this last night, man. And I don't know what it comes down to. It's the way that Phil said it that rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's probably because I wouldn't have chosen the words that he used. Short term and overall vision, I understand what he's saying, right? If you're looking at it from a short term and you're looking at what Xbox is doing, which again was a part of the conversation that people do forget. He was explaining that their overall, again, the console market is still there. It's still viable. It's still important. It's still, it's still an.
And he even called it their most important consumer.
Right. Because it's the enthusiast, right? It's the enthusiast, like you said, Mav. It's not the casuals buy, like Jasper said, 1 to 3 games per year. They're the same games over and again, and they're probably third party, right? So they buy it. But the enthusiasts spend a lot more money in the ecosystem overall. But because Microsoft is expanding out into all these other places, I understand where he's coming from. Again, the competitive side in me hears a defeat, even if you say, well, yeah, of course, they're never going to catch Nintendo. They're never going to catch Sony in the console specific space, right? To me, it's still defeat. To me, I'd still be out there making the decision hard for people when they go to decide. Even if you believe digital libraries hold people, and again, they've got internal numbers, they've got analytics, they've got things that we don't see where they look at this stuff. So again, that's the difference between running $1 billion company and just being a gamer on the street talking about this stuff. But even just from my headspace, I want to go into the next generation with this attitude of when those people go to make their money, even if they've got this library of digital games on PlayStation, they look over at what Xbox did this generation from beginning to end. And all of a sudden, you have that streak of 3 years, a game every quarter, first party, hitting big, great games, including big titles like Bethesda games, like a Starfield, like an Elder Scrolls 6 that do draw that attention. And when they go into that GameStop or they go to Best Buy or they're on Amazon and they're thinking about what system they're going into next into that generation, and you have some great new hardware that you spent a ton of money, you want to make that decision as hard as possible for that consumer. You don't want it to be easy like it was last generation, to his point. Last generation, very easy for many of us who came from 360 to go, yeah, I ain't into what you're selling, Xbox. I'm going to PlayStation 4. Like that was simple for me. It was like, whatever. You don't want the next generation. So long term, like I said last night, I don't think it, even if you look at the console space, even if you want to say they'll never take the number one spot, I think they could get it closer to the 360 PS3 era where it was more even in the long term if you have a string of great games. And that's where again, it's probably just because of the words he used and how he said it that just rubbed me wrong.
Well, the interesting thing too, Pong, is like he really answered a question that wasn't asked.
Correct. Right.
So it was a little, that's my weirdest thing is like he didn't even need to go there.
And we talked about that last night, Mav. Part of that was his attitude.
Yeah.
He was in a totally different mood. That was
it's
not
like,
normal.
I know what
Phil.
you just asked me, but here, listen to what I'm going to say right now.
I want to get some more things off my chest.
Exactly.
Like this is what I want to talk about right now. And that's what it was. And I think that was a part of the answer.
Do you think it was because of the same frustration that he pointed to Nintendo and Sony with that comment about the backhanded deals that they make?
Mav, he's been educating regulatory people who know nothing for over a year now, talking about this stuff nonstop.
Do you think also that could have been for regulators about their games that they're planning on putting in their ecosystem, that it's not going to create a massive shift in the market?
It could.
Well, I don't think this interview was for the regulators. They probably already.
No. But
that can be
he's in that mode, Jasper.
Yeah.
He's in that mode. He's been in that mode for a year.
There's arguments he's been making
about this.
Correct. These are the same arguments he's been making about the ABK acquisition, the CMA, to all these different things. And this is exactly kind of the same verbiage that he utilized in that interview, because it's like, he's like, I could feel it within Phil. I could feel it within Phil. No, I could though. He just wanted to be like, fuck. Like he did. He just wanted to let that out and be like, fuck all this shit, because I'm sick of it. You fuck Sony and Nintendo doing all this stupid shit behind the scenes. You know, it's fucking hard out here in these Xbox streets. You fuck guys don't understand. We're trying. You know, it's all me for Redfall. But holy shit. You think one fucking game's gonna move that fucking needle? No, we got more coming. Oh my god, screw all this shit. And
I imagine
funny, I'm here, but I hate this. I don't want to be here right now. All right.
I imagine there's been.
Bye.
I picture Phil many days in the Microsoft parking lot, just sitting in his parking space with the windows rolled up, just screaming into the void, just screaming nonstop in frustration, just grabbing his steering wheel and yelling like nonstop.
These British motherfuckers, we should declare war.
These stupid assholes that know shit about our industry, trying to, oh my God, I just can only imagine. But yeah, and you don't see that in Phil. Like I said, that interview was completely different dude than I've seen at any other interview. And that guy has done a lot of them. And I've never seen him in that mode. Like I haven't. You could just see the weight on him, the frustration, tired, everything that this has led up to. And I think, like we talked about, Mav, a lot of the answers that he gave were based upon that. And again, he wasn't hearing any positivity.
Yeah.
He didn't want to hear, Paris trying to make excuse or trying to lightly say you guys didn't get the 12 months done, and he was just jumped in over the top. No, we didn't, and it was just like you could see it. Like if Phil doesn't swear like ever, like you could see he wanted to. You can see that he wanted to rip in and just fucking let loose during that interview. So just a different style, man, just different. And again, I just think that it's been run over, and he knew it, Mav. Again, he preemptively said this is probably going to be disruptive, right? He knew what he was saying. Like I said, this wasn't an off the cuff, I'm just saying something and oops, I shouldn't have said that. He knew it, and so it was purposeful that he was saying that. And I think you made a great point that a lot of it was built up in that moment, right there and then, where he just took an opportunity to expand upon a lot of his frustration and just explain again, consoles, sales, we're not going to get number one. We're not fighting it. We got a bigger vision here. Great games aren't going to just magically turn us around and all of a sudden we're going to win this generation. It's just not going to happen. And he just wanted to let the world know, but that's only one piece. We're looking at the whole pie here. That's it. That's it. For a final time, I just want to say that. That's where I think he came.
And that's what they've been saying for the past few years. It's not about Xbox. Xbox is an ecosystem. It's not a console anymore. So you can jump in any way you want.
Yeah, for sure.
But see, that kind of negates the whole like built up library thing, because if you're going to have
not necessarily, because a lot of Xbox games are shared now across multiple devices, so you still can carry your library over.
Yeah, but like if you're a PlayStation guy coming over to Xbox, like the big thing is, okay, you have 600 games over at PlayStation, but the subscription service over at Xbox with Game Pass kind of fills that void until you reestablish it.
That's a good point. You don't really need an established library on Xbox to join the ecosystem.
Yeah,
I think it's more the fact that people would feel like they've wasted like a shit ton of money like building their library up over the years, and just to like throw it away.
I left over 300 games on PlayStation.
Well, I mean, again, some people are going to do it. It's just a large. He said a large group is not
right. And I said that it wasn't about taking number one. I agree that generally speaking, they're probably not going to be able to take number one unless something massive happens on one of the Nintendo or Sony and they screw up again, which we have seen. Right? Again, nothing's guaranteed. We've seen them screw up, but you're right, to that kind of scale, I don't believe so. But I think again that you could see big numbers. Like if you could draw it closer.
I don't necessarily feel like Sony's really taking the best steps right now either, though, with the way they're spending more time trying to block the ABK deal and like
price increases
raising prices first. Yep.
Shuttering studios.
Shuttering studios. The only exclusive they have coming out this year is what, Miles Morales 2?
Yeah, they launched a VR headset and they only have one game coming out. So
they seem to be kind of resting on their laurels a little bit, not really working to innovate gaming as a whole or like push the console space forward. Because honestly, I think if Sony's not going to try and delve in the same direction that Xbox is and expand onto PC more and make games more accessible and affordable, then they need to be innovating in the console space and creating new console experiences the way Nintendo does, to make it so you have that premium console experience at a good value that can combat PCs and have an actual reason to play these games on a box that costs the better part of what it costs to buy a graphics card. And you said that before, is like
Nintendo is everyone's second choice. That's why I think the Wii U, like, it hurt them, but it didn't really hurt them because everyone's just like, well, I'm just not going to buy the Nintendo this generation. I'll just get
it was a precursor to the Switch anyway. And now Nintendo's goose is cooked, though, because you've got systems like the Steam Deck and the Rogue Ally coming out. Like, Nintendo's got to scramble and find the new thing to really differentiate themselves in the console space as well. And that's the game that you have to play in the console space.
I mean, that's Nintendo's game every generation, to be fair.
Right. Yeah. That's how all console generations really kind of tick down, is when you look at it. You either have the premium experience, you have the most affordable experience, or you have the most interesting experience. So it's just like you have to pick a lane and go in it. But right now, Sony's just doing more of the same, it feels like. And I mean, they do have great games, but where are they? Like, they're just kind of focused elsewhere, or literally extracting as much money as they possibly can out of their consumers. And if they don't deliver, then there's a chance for Microsoft to shift the momentum there.
Well, I think PlayStation's too also dependent on third-party type products to fill out the catalog, because like this year, like you said, like Spider-Man 2 is it for first party, right? They even said that. But they have Final Fantasy 16. They got is Silent Hill 2 coming this year, or is that next year? No, next year. What about 7 Remake 2?
I think there was
Final Fantasy 7. I think both of them are this year, 7 and 16.
Yeah.
So
2?
I don't know if part
7 part 2 Rebirth. I think it is.
I think it was originally said that.
Maybe it's early 2024. I don't remember that.
I don't know, but like regardless, that's still like less output than Microsoft. Party.
It will be.
And even if you count those games, like Forspoken, they kind of acknowledge that as part of their like exclusives and stuff like that, right? But for me, it's like relying on those things is the same boat that Microsoft put themselves in the past, because some of those games are going to hit, some of them aren't, right? That's why I was more frustrating with Redfall, because you have control, right? But like these third parties, you don't really have as much control over what happens with those things. And Sony had a shitty Forspoken experience, right? Babylon's Fall was another exclusive that they marketed at their shows as well. This year they have Final Fantasy 16, which I'm confident is going to be good, right? And you have Spider-Man 2, but like that's not enough, even with the big third-party games, really. And with the third-party games, they're so inconsistent, you know. Like, so they're creating this brand identification about third-party products, association with PlayStation, and a bunch of things that they don't have control of, right? And that's why they were so pissed off about the ABK thing, because they don't have control over Activision Blizzard, and they're still going to get bit in the ass regardless if this goes through or not, because I don't think they're going to get the continuing marketing rights in the future for ABK.
Right, and if they can't keep those third-party games off of more affordable platforms, then they're going to find the casual market that just goes Sony every year, starting to shift their eye when wallets get tight.
And
you really see what PlayStation was doing too, Matt, right? Because they were going after ZeniMax, they were going after Bethesda, they're going after all the major publishers. There's a chance they get a deal done with Rockstar for Grand Theft Auto 6. There's a chance they do. They were going after all the major publishers, and that's why Microsoft stepped in and started acquisition season, because they saw this, and this is what Phil alluded to again in this interview. That's what they were going to do. Sony was going to corner the market on almost every single major game coming from a third-party publisher and get the marketing rights. If they couldn't get exclusivity, they would get the marketing rights, and they were going to corner Microsoft and put them in a big giant hole. And that's when Microsoft stepped in and started doing acquisition season. When bought ZeniMax, oh, you're going to try to get Starfield for 2 years? Yeah, no. We'll just buy them. Good luck. Now here's what we're going to do.
The other thing with Sony's model in this regard is the attention that they brought upon themselves, trying to block Microsoft from making the acquisition, might have brought enough attention onto them to damage their idea for this model, blocking out other other platforms in the future as well, because regulators now have their eyes on that, and that might not work for them in the future if there's new like rules that get put in place not allowing those types of deals, which can be seen as monopolistic, can be seen as abuse of dominant market share, anti-consumer practices, which is listed in within the CMA's rules about what they go after, and one of the reasons they actually sued Google in the past, right? So there's a lot of reasons to look at this stuff. Actually, they have an ongoing lawsuit in the UK regarding prices and overcharging consumers because of the dominant market share that they have as well. So we'll see what happens with that. But like overall, Sony's model is not even good enough for Sony right now, and I think they are saying that they need to change. They're going to more PC oriented stuff. They're monthly, even if they're. Can you imagine having it? Could you imagine if Xbox reported that they sold 30% more consoles and their monthly active users dropped? Could you imagine that?
It's a problem.
That is a problem. Could you imagine
Fuzzy's conspiracy theory? They don't.
Could you imagine
all the PlayStation gets sold to a warehouse?
Losing subscribers to your ecosystem while you're still selling consoles that you barely make any profit on?
Right.
Like that's a more at heart core issue. You remember those reports came out with the financials from Sony about not as many people are buying games over in Sony land. Meanwhile, you have games like Wolong and another game randomly, I can't remember what it was, celebrating sales plus engagement on Xbox with Game Pass. So the tides are shifting with the way that business is being done within video games, whether Sony likes it or not.
That's the big picture, right, man? That's the big picture. And again, that's what everybody loses focus on, because we're so, again, to the enthusiasts, to the console owners, we've always been focused on that model. But there's only one of the big three who are positioned to go after the wider digital market, and that's Microsoft. That's Xbox. Mm-hmm. They're the only ones positioned to do that.
They're the only ones that can go after Google and Apple and all that stuff.
Right, exactly. And they're the only ones that have a real opportunity to grow the video game space within their own ecosystem. Again, we're talking 2 billion, 3 billion people out there. Yeah, that's mobile, right? That's the mobile market out there that everybody wants a piece of. Microsoft has the ability to now move into that space and create one ecosystem that they're trying to do where you play games no matter what. They're the only ones that are positioned to do that. That's what Sony sees. That's what Sony's scared of, is that Microsoft is just going to transform themselves beyond this whole idea.
They already have, you know.
Right, they already have, right? But the Sony sees that coming, and at that point, it doesn't matter what Sony does. Sony can have all the exclusivity in the world, and it's not going to change the fact that Microsoft is reaching 2 billion, 3 billion people as an ecosystem, which no one company's been able to actually do yet outside of closer to Apple and Google and those places, because they could dominate that mobile space. But Microsoft's going to move beyond, and all of a sudden they're going to have an opportunity where it doesn't matter what Sony does. It just won't. It won't matter anymore, and Sony won't be able to control the market the way they do right now.
Yeah.
Period.
And selling lots of consoles without engagement and without monthly active users growing is not necessarily a great metric of success, because they don't make a lot of profit on a console. Right. But also, we have to look at this. Is this the reason that they've been raising the prices on the console so they can start making some money on those? Right? They got to offset some stuff somewhere, right? Lots of things. There's reasons they're going to live service stuff and all those kind of things. It's like very interesting conversation. Like Microsoft's revenue went up, their content and services revenue went up, which was a different metric. It's like more than hardware, right? Their content and services revenue went up while they had a 30% decline in hardware. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just,
there's more people signing up for Game Pass either on their TV, tablet, or PC.
That this tells you that the console isn't the all end all be all of this, right? Like Xbox is the hardware. They don't have any other hardware except for like controllers and accessories and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's just an interesting conversation about where the industry's going, and I think it's going to continue for a long time.
I think the success of like the Switch and the Steam Deck though really reinforce the argument though as well, that gamers want to have the option to game where they want to game and have that flexibility, and Game Pass is providing that, and like having more devices every single year to possibly play on, because now your tablet's an Xbox, your phone's an Xbox, your PC's an Xbox, your Xbox is an Xbox. Your Rogue Ally will be an Xbox.
Handheld PCs or your Xbox.
Your new TV. Yeah. Like it's
a lot of these devices, you know what you can do natively on those is buy games on Xbox and Microsoft Store. Right. And Sony doesn't have a storefront yet. And they only have some
technology. The technology is catching up to the vision. And those devices wouldn't be built, I don't think, or like it wouldn't be as marketable if there weren't already services like Game Pass that can serve them as well. There's a whole cloud handheld market just because of services like Game Pass. So it's like it's going to keep growing.
Yeah. I feel like part of the reason that
hey, Mr. CMA over here.
part of the reason the monthly active users may have keep dropping for PlayStation is because they only increase when there is a big release.
Mm-hmm.
And then they decline again, and then they increase when there's a big release. They don't have that like consistent like ongoing games that people keep playing. Like we see Grounded, hey, we're celebrating this many more players. We see like Sea of Thieves, this many more players are still growing. Minecraft's user base still keeps growing. All these different things, right? And we don't.
They got those 12 games in the works right now.
Yeah. So they just, I don't know. It's interesting, but Nintendo is a whole nother elephant. Like it's beaten to its own drum.
But see, Nintendo is like the most wild card. They could come out with Switch 2 and be like, guess what? It's integrated with Steam, bitches. It's like, you never know what fucking Nintendo's going to do.
Could you imagine, though, if there's a Game Pass app on the next Switch? That they finally get that partnership that they wanted.
They traded Call of Duty to get Game Pass on the Switch.
I mean, that's what they wanted originally, right? Like, even if it was just a cloud application, that'd be a huge deal, right?
I mean, I don't see why Nintendo almost wouldn't consider it if they get to take a certain percentage of like signups through their device or purchases through their device as well. Like it would make sense to like bolster their business if like, because I would totally use my Switch as a cloud gaming device if I had the option.
The thing with Nintendo, you would think they would look at it as like, is this another selling point for the Switch? Because
Right.
Nintendo's very hardware profit focused.
I think that's the
mean-
problem with both companies. They both want 100% of the share, and I don't think any of them's going to give that up.
I would be lying though if I didn't say a small part of me didn't like want to Switch, because I believe that at one point in time Game Pass was gonna make its way towards Switch. Like it was definitely in my mind, but now it's like I want to get a handheld computer now that that's a possibility.
That was the thing that Phil said he wanted an interview, you know.
Sure.
So
Yeah, exactly. Back in like 2018, like that's when I feel like he had to kind of chill out on the aspirations, like when he realized how like, especially because we have the arguments as well about like looking at Apple and how much of a cut all these proprietary stores take for their app stores and everything. Like, and now we have like the antitrust lawsuits going through. Like, they might have to step back a little bit on their ambition, because like these other companies don't want to give up that market share of how much revenue they're getting. Or it's a whole new thing with like a couple years, like last gen we had the cross-platform integration. This year it's like, how do you divvy up the pie for putting your service on the rivals platforms?
And Charlie Hustle, yes, Phil did say that the best place to play will remain the console.
yeah,
And that's why they will continue to produce hardware until the tech gets to the point like we were talking about earlier, where there's no differentiate. You can't tell the difference between, you know, whether you're not playing on hardware or off the cloud. So he did say that. But as we were talking about before, the masses, the kids who play on tablets, who play on phones, they don't give a shit.
no.
They don't. Just like the people that have Netflix that don't care it's in 1080p or 720 and not 4K. They don't give a shit. They're just watching. They don't care. That's the way it is for the most people, and that's why that's the bigger piece of the pie overall than
It's
us.
the mobile market. It's the mobile type
Yeah.
gamer. You know what I mean?
They don't care.
Yeah.
Well,
It's good enough. It's fine.
10 years from now, a cheap tablet probably will be as powerful as like a computer.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's like either like most kids, like my daughter is probably not necessarily going to want to play a console unless I like encourage her to do so. Like she loves her tablet already when she gets to use that.
And you can go anywhere with it. Why would I just sit in one place? That's fucking stupid.
Well, not only that, but it's like the power that, like, we talk about the power of these machines and like how you have these 4K gaming experiences at 60 frames a second. When how many of these people that tout that have like TVs that can only do 1080p or like 4K at like 30 frames a second? Like, they're not getting the most out of their devices already. Like the Series S is a more realistic starting point than most people would accept.
And that's why that was made. It's because people don't give a shit. They just want whatever's cheap that they can play the newest games.
My daughter loves her Series S. You know, like she never complains or like, I want the Series X. Can I have a Series X? She asks for other stuff all the time. She never asks for that.
You haven't told her the benefits of it. You got to show her.
Well, she knows. I mean, she's played on, but the other ones in the house. You know what I mean? But like, she's in there playing, talking to her friends right now.
You don't care.
Playing something. It's completely content. Great experience.
To be fair, Roblox doesn't really benefit from a Series X, but
Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite, you know, but she plays even more different stuff now a lot too. Like it's different now. As people grow up, they start to care more about the quality of their experiences, right?
Yeah.
And it, like, well, hey, I want more. I want this because it's the best and stuff like that, right? So that's where that market's always going to exist, you know. That's the enthusiast market, but hey, did you have anything else to add to this cycle? Because I know you kept trying to chime in, but we kept cutting you off.
I did, but I forgot.
Fair enough.
Psycho usually more aggressive. You must be playing games.
Yeah. No.
I took my downers.
Yeah.
No, I don't do downers, man. I don't know what the fuck I was trying to say, but I went for a smoke and I totally forgot. So. That's when I blocked Blaze and Nyx.
Oh, you accidentally blocked Nyx too?
No, timed
Damn
out
it.
Knicks. But
Oh, okay. Were you just tapping on shit on the screen?
Yeah.
Hey, let's fuck these guys, but I'll get away with it.
well, I'm holding it in my hand, and the phone is the touchscreen's so fucking sensitive.
Yeah.
I fucking touch it. I'm like, who timed it out? What asshole did that? Oh, I'm the asshole. Fuck.
You see, this is why you can't play games on a tablet. Too sensitive.
Now, Pong and I pretty much went through the whole interview yesterday on PM and the PM. So if you want to check out where like we go through each point of Phil's discussion, tune in to PM and the PM.
Turned a 45-minute interview into 4 hours.
Yeah, go watch.
I was like I said last night. I had thought about letting Mav play the clips and listening to him and go. We would have never gotten out
The
of
what?
that last
It
night.
would have been a 6-hour show. Yeah. And this one, we're already in 2 hours and 23 minutes, and there's still another big discussion that I wanted to have about this whole interview. And this is the last. There's a lot more. Like I said, go listen to the show last night if you want to see discussion about everything. But the other thing here that I want to get into is two things about the confidence of the quarterly releases, right? Combined with the showcase discussion.
Yeah, this is
Right.
the good stuff, right?
This is the good stuff, right? Because the other stuff was
This is the
all
good,
like the defeatist attitude,
it was
all
Krabby
that kind
Phil.
of stuff,
It was
right?
Krabby Phil.
This is Phil acknowledging first off that he agrees with us that the 12-month showcase was a bad idea, Jasper. He doesn't like it anymore. He says it was. He said that they did not meet on those expectations.
That's because they didn't meet it, but if they did, it would have been a good idea.
Yeah, he didn't let him sugarcoat it either. He said, no, we failed.
So I think we can all, based on also other Phil's comments, because Paris asked this question about like,
It's not going to be a 12-month show, Jasper.
yeah, it ain't gonna be a 12-month
Yeah,
show.
clearly.
They are clearing
I'm fine.
the decks,
I'm fine
Jasper.
either way. I'm fine either way.
Nope.
I'm happy.
No,
No,
You're not allowed-
Jasper, you were wrong.
You're
Take
not
your L.
allowed to watch.
Take your L.
You're not allowed to watch now because
Oh,
you said,
he can watch. He's just going to be on mute
Yeah.
the whole time. We're not going to let him talk.
we'll say, Jasper,
what?
you capped for the 12-month show. You can't act like you like this other show now. You can't act like that. You can't cap like that. I remember this. I got receipts, bro. You know, you get a big old L over your whole 12-month showcase
And
talk.
I'm pretty sure in those receipts, I said I'm happy either way. But I
No,
prefer
no.
12
Oh,
Yeah,
months.
said
no.
that.
You've been fighting for the 12 months, Jasper. Every time we talk
you're
about
not allowed
it.
to watch. I'll if you join our co-streams, I'll mute your ass and block out your screen so people can't even acknowledge your fucking existence.
Well,
you
guess what?
12-month
I think-
capper, 12-month
I
capping
think
ass.
Phil made a mistake. I disagree with Phil on this point. He should keep with 12 months. How about that?
Same energy. I like it, bro. I like it. Same energy. There you go. Right on. Anyway. Now, regardless how
But you're still
wrong
not getting perfect dark.
Jasper the capper.
Jasper the capper. I love it.
He's always wearing a cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Phil alluded pretty much that the 12-month show like was a disaster, right? As far as meeting expectations and delivering on them, right? But also that when Paris asked,
What if it's 18 months?
Then I'm really excited because Phil is acting like there's a whole lot coming in 18 months.
they're
That's all I got to say.
gonna come out and say this show is focused on games you can expect to play within the next 16 months and 3 weeks.
Yeah, right.
There's some weird fucking timeline. And anyway, he was asked by Paris a question that I admired greatly because I wish I had asked Phil this question. And it's something I've been talking a lot about, that I've been also at odds with Jasper about for a long time, about needing updates on games like Perfect Dark.
You're still not getting perfect dark this year. I bet you on that.
Perfect Dark.
Just mute him now, Mav, please.
I'm about to
He's done.
fucking pony piece of shit and get out of. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't own a PlayStation.
I don't care. Shitting on
You
Xbox.
got a
right
PC, pony.
Piece of shit. PC piece of shit.
All right. So Paris asked games like, you know, a couple of years ago, you had games like, you know, Perfect Dark, Avowed. I can remember the games. He said Everwild,
Fable.
Fable. He said, or like, what is it? He said, what is the decision in like when to update the players on these games, right? Which is almost exactly what I said I would ask him on my stream the other night, on my birthday stream. So Phil answered about the showcase. He's called it Showcase. He didn't call it Xbox Showcase. He just called it Showcase, right? And he said that you were going to see some of the games on his list. So we're going to see either Fable, Perfect Dark, and more than one. He said some. So Fable, Everwild, Avowed, and what was the other one?
Contraband, State of Decay 3.
Yeah. So
In Exile and Compulsions games were also mentioned.
So first off, we're going to see at least a couple of those games, right? Also, there's
some. I would say more than a couple. Some.
Okay, so you want to say 3 would be fair?
Yeah, 3 to 4.
No,
3+.
I think 5.
It's Fable, Hellblade, and Avowed. That's my yes.
Compulsion and Exile, Avowed. They will also show. Fuck is it?
All right, we're gonna talk about this cycle. So let's
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Matt.
Finish his point, and then we'll talk because this is where we're going. Go ahead, Matt.
So I don't even fucking. I just pulled a second. What was I talking about?
I went up for a smoke and then
I didn't see you leave.
I was just having a mental smoke right now.
I didn't have a cigarette.
I know you didn't.
I just want to.
I gotta get to the super chat real quick. This is a good time for that.
Jesus Christ. The worst ADHD
I know.
ever.
I sorry.
Squirrel.
Stay high. FFF hit us early with a $20 super chat.
Stay high.
$20, bro. I appreciate that so much. Says the problem is the new generation of gamers like Jasper are tribalistic and don't care about experiences like we do. We were gaming before online. It was all about the experience. They didn't experience that. All they know is
16 bits pixels games.
Jasper, mute him.
I appreciate it. Stay high. And apparently Psycho also believes in your name. So
that is correct.
Yeah, sorry it took me so long to get to that as well. We were just deep in conversation. All right, so we have this
list.
God. Okay. Lineup of games. This he said that we're going to see some of those games, right? He also said that we're going to have some surprises as well. A few surprises. So few means more than 2 as well, right? So you can expect maybe 3 new game announcements at least at this show. So we get at least 3 updates on those games. You get maybe 3 new game announcements, which may be even further out, or the surprises that are going to be sooner. And then I would say within that game list is also potentially going to be within the next year as well, right? On the updated games. So this showcase is going to be exactly what I hoped it would be, which is going to be a mixed bag of everything. Stuff coming soon, new game announcements, and then also updates on the games that we already know about, right? Also, you're going to have third-party stuff there as well, so you could have Game Pass deals and all that kind of stuff show up. We got about an hour and a half of the main showcase, I think, and then 30 minutes of Starfield Direct probably. But we don't exactly know how that's going to be broken up. I don't think they've said that yet. But we're all looking forward to it. They also did say their announcement, which was the same day, I think, as the interview, I believe, of the showcase, that there will be a follow-up show 2 days later, again, like they have been doing, to give more updates on games, right? So maybe games that we saw at the showcase, and then also maybe other live service games they have going on as well. So if you are an Xbox fan, if you like playing on your Xbox, if you like playing in the Xbox ecosystem, no matter what device you play on, this showcase is going to have a lot for you, and you should be very excited, I think. And I think it's going to put some things in a very hype mentality going forward. So what do you guys think is going to be there now that we have some full context to it?
Sea of Thieves, ESO, Fallout 76, and Grounded.
Mute him now.
No. Grounded too.
See, the thing, Fuzzy, is you don't have to worry about Mad Mutant Pong. Pong does that himself all the time.
Stay high FFF with a $5 super chat says, let them know, Psycho, it's more than a name. It's a lifestyle. LOL.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Trust me, we've known Psycho long enough to completely understand that it is a lifestyle. It is
Not
completely
a phase, man.
If you ain't at home, you're at a Dave Matthews concert, or I understand 100%.
I thought you were about to say he's tripping balls at Dave and Buster's.
No, this guy goes to fucking 3 Dave Matthews concerts a year. It's like, hey, where's Dave at? I'm gonna try and be there.
I'm going this year again too, by the way.
You got your ball.
Crash.
Sorry, I broke it up again.
No, it's okay.
All right.
Yeah,
all right. This is what I think. I think we'll have In Exile, Compulsion, Contraband. I think we'll have Everwild, and possibly Fable, and I don't know about Perfect Dark. We might not get that, or State of Decay 3. Those two, I don't know if we're gonna get a show. And I think we'll get about 4 or 5 new game announcements that are going to be exclusive, possibly, or timed exclusive, or. But
what could be?
That's do
you think that? I mean, those studios are so third-party games. You're talking about exclusive. Like, what would be something that, like a studio that you would think it could be?
Well, we could very well see the. Whatever Project Dragon, which did not get a Xbox, was it Xbox? It kind of pointed out there was going to be multiplat. I forget the studio, but I think that game will be up at the showcase. Maybe they'll have a whatever Certain Infinity's working on. Maybe you'll have a little trailer for that. Possibly we'll get a maybe big if whatever. I don't know. They
maybe
did not
that Wu-Tang game.
Maybe, but I was thinking Ubisoft, if they just have a vertical slice of maybe Splinter Cell, they can show off.
That would be
just a trailer.
So
I think that would go to
moment if that happened.
I think they would go to Keighley though. I think Ubisoft would go to the Keighley's.
Ubisoft has done stuff in the past at Xbox shows, but you could be right. But the thing is, Ubisoft is having their own show as well.
They canceled theirs.
Did they?
Didn't they? I thought they canceled theirs.
I don't think so.
They said that they were still doing the show, just not at E3.
Yeah, no, they're having their own. They're having a Ubisoft Forward.
Ubisoft is at the Microsoft Theater the following day, the 12th.
Yeah, so that's why we're thinking maybe they'll do like a little
Microsoft Theater, huh?
They'll do a place card for Splinter Cell.
I shouldn't say they're at the Microsoft Theater. They said they're going to be at the following day. I shouldn't say. I assumed it's going to be at the Microsoft Theater. I could be wrong.
So I'm thinking possibly we can get, because we were teased with a Splinter Cell game a while back, and nothing materialized from that. So I'm thinking maybe. Now this is a big maybe. We'll either get a place card, just like get the night vision goggle type sound in like trailer type shit, something stupid that it's not going to be like, oh my god, here's gameplay, nothing like that. I think we'll maybe get that, and then because it's kind of like how, what was it, Star Wars KOTOR for PS5. It's kind of just, it was just a trailer of whatever the thing was, so it wasn't anything big. So I think we'll get some of those.
Cool, man. I think Splinter Cell would be amazing.
Send an invite to 3-Bit so we can get his poker face in here and ask him.
I think that it would be great to see Splinter Cell back on that stage. I think because of the Ubisoft show, they could hold it for that. But I will say it may not be at the Microsoft Theater, Pong, because I think I know where it's going to be. It's going to be at the abandoned warehouse down the street from the Microsoft Theater, and they're going to put graffiti on the walls and all the walls, so that way they can make it seem really cool and hip that all these games are coming. They're going to have 50 different cameras pointed in a circle around
they're going to have a holographic Yves Guillermo there.
Yeah, and they're going to...
I couldn't make it this year because you all didn't make enough money for me on my plane flight, so you all going to have to work harder so you get a hologram me.
And they're going to announce 20 different new free-to-play experiences based on the Clancy brand.
Oh God.
20. That's what they're gonna do at. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm hoping for good things from Ubisoft this year. The last couple of shows sucked ass. If something Ubisoft does show up at the Xbox show, I hope for God's sake it's not Skull and Bones.
It's X Defiant because X is in the name. It's Xbox.
It better not be. Bob, you played X Defiant, didn't you?
I played it for like 2 hours and I just could not get into it. It didn't feel good to me.
Same. I tried it, played it 3 different times.
Like it's great that they're more than willing to listen to the players and try and make changes based on their feedback. But if you can make a shit sandwich in a lot of different ways, it's still gonna taste like shit.
I just don't understand the point of its existence. If you want to play a good shooter kind of similar to that, you just play Call of Duty.
Right, yeah.
Except Call of Duty's kind of shit.
Way better than that shit that with X Defiant. I mean, I understand that some of the Call of Duty likes aspects of X Defiant, but like.
So you see, Jasper, you can trace a shit sandwich, but it's still gonna end up being a shit sandwich.
Yeah.
Put mustard on it.
So hey, this thing that Jasper's saying is ass. We strive to be that. We're trying. We hope to God.
What X Defiant is trying to be good COD from like 5 or 6 years ago.
You want to know what game I got to get on? Is that Roblox mod? That game looks sick, to be honest.
you know what other game was trying to do that? Was Crossfire X.
Why are we talking about
Crossfire
Ubisoft
X
right
was
now?
being
I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay.
I talked about Splinter Cell.
Yeah,
because they're not going to have a showcase apparently.
No, they are the Ubisoft Forward. They'll have it on the.
It's a digital thing.
12.
Well, if they, we'll get off it.
Ooh, there's a if you don't have just Star Wars Jedi Survivor, you can get a digital code for $47.50.
Where at?
This is your sales section of the Xbox Ultimate File.
KhAos deals.
This sounds like a legitimate website.
You might want to make sure your spyware protection is activated before you go to the website, everybody.
Yeah, use your PayPal account, not your credit card.
Yeah.
It's Play Asia. I don't know.
Oh, even better. Sure, it's not run by Chinese.
I have never heard of
fuzzy
them.
feelings. It must be safer now. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, folks. Don't go.
I heard this game's $3. You just got to go to this very suspicious website. All right, so we got Psychos. Who else wants to give some ideas?
I'll go.
Okay.
I think I said this before, but there's going to be either a safe show or the balls to the wall show. I think the safe show is the one that starts with Forza Motorsport. You still get all the updates on a lot of the already known IP, and then there's going to be in the middle of it. There'll be I don't know if Cobalt's ready or Project Cobalt, but I think Project Midnight might be in there, and pretty much the safe ending is Gears of War 6 CGI, or something that people will think is CGI that might just be a vertical slice type of thing from the Coalition to end the show before Starfield. The balls to the wall is you open it up with Compulsion and you end it with Fable. I think you even get Kojima's game possibly in there. I can't remember if Overdose is supposedly that game or if it's something else, whatever the case may be, but possibly Kojima's game gets, some more fanfare at the show. As far as third-party stuff, it would be nice if we had Splinter Cell, but if I were Phil now, especially after Sony has been nothing but a-holes with this whole ABK thing, announce that you have the marketing rights for Grand Theft Auto 6.
Right.
And call it done.
Okay.
Not you don't even have to do anything exclusive, just you have the marketing rights, and then play it up as if it's the only place to play is on Xbox. Just take a page from their book kind of thing.
I kind of agree with you, Fuzz. I think that they open with Fable, and then like kind of towards the end they show Avowed, and then their final thing before the Starfield show, because you don't want to have two like big RPGs next to each other like Avowed and Starfield, so they break that up with like a Gears of War, either a collection reveal within the teaser for Gears 6 or just a Gears 6 or some kind of a Gears thing, because they want to sell what Xbox is and what it used to be. So they're gonna I feel that they will show Gears there. Out of that list of games that Paris was talking about, I think it's Fable, Avowed, and Hellblade. I don't think we see much of Hellblade because I think they probably show us a trailer and then they give us a direct in maybe the fall or something for more on that. But that's kind of what I think.
Sense.
Exile for sure will be there. Compulsion is just hiring a community social media manager right now. We got word of that today. So they're ramping up. I don't know if they're ready to show anything. But
I mean, if it's a month out, I doubt it. If they're just now getting.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking on that. I mean, we could get a teaser just to show us, a title, right? I mean, that's no big deal. But I think that they might still be next year. But I think NXIL's ready for sure to show us something. I think Indiana Jones is there. I think they give us a glimpse.
Because that'd be when the movie's coming out too.
Yes, correct. To capitalize on the movie. Pete Hines tweeted out about the movie, whatever else. I think they're not going to have the game ready, obviously. But to capitalize on the movie, kind of hyped, get that out there.
That movie is so bad.
It looks good though. I think that.
Yeah, it looks good, but if it's like a shit movie, and then be like, "Hey, remember that shit?"
Yeah, but that's okay. It's still Indiana Jones, and again, it's not for the younger crowd per se. It's good. Yeah. All you gotta do is play the music and show a silhouette of them with a whip. I said this on the Shop podcast. I think that's how they end the show before they roll into Starfield. I think it's Indiana Jones. I agree with you, Jasper. You don't do back-to-back RPGs like that if you're going to do a big blowout. So I think they end it with Indiana Jones on the one more thing, and just show it off. I think Contraband for sure is there. I think that I forget the name of it. The tower game that Jez leaked. God dang it. The 2D side-scroller hand animation game that he talked about from the devs. I think that's there for sure. And then I think Avowed, Hellblade 2 are obvious takes. Obviously, Forza is going to be there. We know that.
Was it Belfry or something like that?
Belfry, yeah, the Belfry, yeah, that's what it was. That's going to be there. Trying to think what else. Oh, my off-the-wall one, now that we kind of got this little tease from Andy Robinson, this Star Wars RTS that we don't know about. We know about Respawn's one with what is it called, Jasper? What's the
bit
small depth
refactor or bit reactor or something like that?
Bit reactor, thank you. That is we know Respawn and Bit Reactor are teaming up with EA to make a Star Wars RTS. Andy Robinson this week teased another one which Mav and I talked about last night. We made the list. He said big name developer. If that big name means in RTS land, there's only so many of them. My money is on Creative Assembly and or World's Edge if it's internal, and my dark horse is Blizzard coming back into the arena. Whatever the case is, I think Microsoft has got marketing rights or has got exclusivity to it or something, or has got money into it. I think we get a Star Wars RTS game on there. And my other surprise is ZeniMax's online game. Whatever they've been working on shows up at this as well. Whatever that game is, I think we see that there as well.
Ooh, it's gonna be a great show.
It is. It's gonna be a fantastic show.
I got to get to a couple super chats real quick. Stay High FFF with the $5 says, "I just want to know all the talk about the state of Xbox, but everyone is ignoring the anti-consumer case building against PlayStation. Off topic, I know." Yeah, I don't see a lot of reporting on it. I don't really know what's going on with it, to be honest with you. But it is a thing. It's still going on. I would like to have more updates about it. Honestly,
seems like all their pushback against Microsoft expanding those really bringing a lot of that to light. So I'm sure we'll hear more.
Yeah,
as it grows.
I think when something significant happens with it, we'll probably find out something. And another $2 super chat from Stay High FFF. Appreciate it. Says, what if Project Midnight is a new Midnight Club? Project Midnight is a first-party game from Xbox.
Yes.
So I forget which was that. Compulsions. or was that In Exiles, or I don't remember which one it was.
Compulsion.
There's
Compulsions is Project Midnight. Okay,
and
so
Cobalt is in Exiles, right?
I think I think Cobalt's the steampunk first person artist, or
I always
RPG
confused it.
or
I
something.
always confused the
Yeah,
two.
I know,
Victorian, it's crazy between those two. But
Yeah.
yeah, one of those two.
Oh, and we got
And there's rumors, by the way, that Midnight Club is being brought back
Yeah.
by Rockstar. That's been a rumor that's been going around since last year. So we'll find out about
Yeah.
that because
But they did just
that
have this Lego game come out, so hopefully the rumors
2K
weren't
Lego.
about that instead.
Yeah.
So we'll find
I don't
out.
think so. I don't think so.
Biggity 08 hit us with 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate
Ooh,
it.
Thank you.
Biggity, and thanks for that. And hey, congrats to anybody who got a membership. Shout out to all the speculators out there. You all rock. And another $5 from Stay High FFF says, Phil doesn't stifle creativity. Anything's possible. I'm just saying. Go out there and get the rights to a Midnight Club or get a partnership deal. That would be amazing.
That would.
It would be unnecessary
have,
because
like,
of Forza
Forza.
Horizon.
Yes.
But
yes.
Well, make it like a special edition, like
Ooh,
you know,
Midnight Club Forza edition.
Midnight Horizon
DLC. Or
I
an expansion. Yeah.
do love Midnight Club. Oh, God, Dub Edition.
yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
Dub Edition was amazing. So I accidentally had a sound going on on the stream a little bit ago, and the chat was asking, "What is that?" So I didn't tell anybody, but I did. You asked me earlier to send 3-Bit a link, Pong. So he's been sitting here waiting backstage. Actually, yeah, you're on mute, Pong. By the way,
I know. I just did that.
yeah. So
is this about to be a Caitlyn video?
So I'm going to welcome to get 3-Bit's quick takes about the about the showcase and what are we going to see here. So
Have you ever had a dream that
Oh my God.
that you had
What are we doing?
you do
He's literally just showing our DMs right now.
you could do so you
Please
could
don't.
you want him to do you so much you could do anything.
what was that again, 3-Bit? Could you repeat that?
Have you ever had a dream that you had you could do so you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for that take.
You can do anything, 3-Bit.
Yeah, I've had a
You
dream
did so
like
good.
that for all my life. Yeah.
God, just
I'm
wait
ex-
until
I'm
AI. Just wait until AI is readily available. What Caitlyn's gonna do with it, none
my
of us are
God.
gonna be safe. None of us.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You guys are being exposed to my wife's magic in the DMs right now. That's what
That was at like 9 o'clock this morning. We were just ripping on 3-Bit.
Yeah, so that was 3-Bit's take. I agree, 3-Bit, 100%. Bob, did you already give a rundown on what you think either?
I mean, I only had a couple things that I don't think were mentioned. Like to be honest, I haven't been completely up to date on what's down the pipe as much as everyone else, but I do feel like we'll probably see something from Outer Worlds 2, I would hope, because I really am excited about that.
Ooh.
I think that is probably maybe farther along than some other things, but it's hard to tell. But the RPG,
That's a tough one with Starfield at the show.
yeah.
Too.
Well,
And
stuff
with
with
Avowed being
Starfield and
right there.
Avowed, yeah, like a lot of I mean, Xbox is becoming a place to play RPGs again. Fable as well. But I mean, I'm sure they could space it out well, and it's more of a space shooter than as much of a hack and slash fantasy RPG. So it'll be interesting to see. Definitely interested to see what I mean. I would like to see more from games that aren't necessarily coming immediately than like the ones that we already know. Like we get the deep dive on Starfield, like Forza's coming up right around the corner. So it's like I really want to see what else we don't know about. But yeah, I would really like to see maybe another reboot of like a classic franchise that hasn't been touched, like maybe a Crimson Skies, or like somehow Microsoft gets all the stars to align for like a Mech Assault or something. But I know that one's a pipe dream. But I think it'd be really cool to see something like that happen.
Speaking
It would.
of language.
Armored Core 6 and Game Pass could be an announcement.
That would be sick.
I think it's
Honestly-
That comes out. When does that come out?
Comes out August.
Dude, From Software, like if Xbox could get like a marketing deal with From Software, that would be amazing because I think they're pretty close with Sony.
And Sarah Bond was
Sony-
tweeting it out. Xbox was tweeting out Armored Core stuff a lot.
Do you think
now.
but that would be a game that they would wait on though, since it's
It's so niche. It's
Yeah.
I go back and forth, Jasper, because of From's popularity. There's gonna be a
Yeah.
lot of people that buy Armored Core this time around. But again, Armored Core 5 sold under 1 million. Okay, so this is not a big franchise, and Game Pass would be perfect to allow people to try it, and it would fill a role for one of the big games for Game Pass in the fall to have that launch in August. I'm not saying 100% by any stretch of the imagination.
That'd
I'm
make
just saying
me
the
happy.
potential's there, yeah. And they've got a great relationship with Bandai Namco. It just would make a lot of sense to drop the bag on it. Phil loves mech games. He would do Mech Assault if he could. So why not? We had Mech Warrior drop into Game Pass. Why not have a big?
Yeah, he did do that same route to supplant the lack of a baseball game.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, because From Software, Sony has a percentage, I think like 5% in the From
Yep.
in stocks.
Yep.
So
Well,
for
But
Xbox,
Bandai's the publisher.
yeah. So to have the Xbox to have, if they get Armored Core 6 in the Game Pass, that's a holy fuck moment. To the point because Armored Core is huge overseas, and I won't say PlayStation only because Xbox did have I think 4 exclusive. So it's one of those games that it was on Xbox and then it had exclusive and then it kind of disappeared. So getting 6 in the Game Pass would be a great moment, and it'll be a positive movement for Xbox and to get past this negative onslaught they've been getting lately.
Agree. Biggity 08 with the $2 says, how many indies do you guys think will show up?
they'll have a whole fucking
A
section
sizzle
with,
reel. That'd be
Yeah.
like, I'll say like 8.
Silk Song's going to be there for sure. We'll
It's a question like, what do you? It's also like, what is considered an indie as well, right? Like, so there's like some gray areas within that. Like, if you're talking about games like Silk Song and like they had last year, Benedict Fox and stuff like that, I think probably like 8, something like that. I don't know.
I think we get an update on
Maybe
Exo
less.
Mecha.
I don't think so. I think that thing's gonna stay hidden for like 8 more years, and then randomly it'll just show up.
What game was that?
Exo Mecha.
Exo Mecha.
Exo Mecha.
Oh.
Yeah.
What
the
about
game they
does
showed
Replace
3 years
have
ago?
a release date?
What game?
What?
Replaced.
No, that
No,
doesn't have
that
replay.
they
doesn't
had it
have
at last year's show though. Again, like I don't like when they keep having the same games repeated, especially the smaller titles. But I understand.
But if they're ready for the second half of this year, right, Mav?
Yeah.
That'll be part of this.
it's a
sizzle
Game
reel,
Pass
right?
game, day one game. So
Yep, correct. Like I
um,
said, Silk Song replaced. I expect both of those to get release
yeah,
dates at the
for sure.
showcase.
All right. The biggest ask us a question: when do we think a new Halo game will launch?
2028.
Count Certain Affinities
That-
new mode game.
that was the thing that I forgot to mention though, is it would be interesting to if we get some information on a Halo Battle Royale, like that might be a possibility.
Yeah. For sure. All right.
Outside
So
that battle royale, I think we get Doom Guy versus Master Chief in 3 years.
so
We can do it now in Fortnite though.
Part of me's like with that Halo Battle Royale thing, like it's been so long now. Like I feel like if it was going to come out, they would have said something.
So Jasper, I'm gonna get your thoughts, but remember that you have to handicap yourself to within 12-month release window.
I've already said my games, so I'll go again.
Have you? I was so forgettable. So forgettable. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Okay, I mean, I named off like the biggest games they have coming out.
So
So
what did you say? Run out through. I'm just kidding. Run through some of them again.
Fable, Avowed, potentially a Gears of War.
Those don't count because they're going to fall outside of your handicap that you set within yourself.
Are you sure about that? You sure about that?
Are you saying those are going to come within 12 months?
Avowed might.
Avowed, but what about
Avowed.
what the other games did you say again? Fable? Is
Fable.
Fable coming within 12 months, Jasper?
Yep, it sure is.
You want to add
Fable
some
trailer.
steaks? You should offer to eat your shirt. I did that once.
A Fable demo.
I love it. Wow. So I'm gonna give some quick thoughts on it. I'll say that In Exile's game gets announced. I think that Compulsion's game also finally gets announced. And I will say that also we have another game from the publishing side, Xbox Game Studios Publishing, with a third-party partner that we're not anticipating or expecting, right? I don't know what that would be. It could be like the IO Interactive game that maybe is not even associated with Xbox anymore, or it could be something else completely different that we have no idea about, right?
Can we stick with the 18 months on the Fable thing?
Nope. You were muted, Pong.
The Killer Instinct Ed Boon. Let's go.
Yeah, there we go. I do think, speaking on Ed Boon, though, I think there's a chance Mortal Kombat 12 could be at the Xbox showcase. I'm not saying like a Game Pass deal or anything like that, but what I'm saying is like for the reveal, they would want to be on a big stage. So that would lead, because they're not having their own show, right? We know that they said earlier in their financials that that was going to be revealed this year. So that leaves for me the two biggest shows is the Keighley's and the Xbox showcase.
And we also heard smoke there was a WB deal in the works
Yeah.
as well.
Right.
So
The only other place they could showcase it at is at DC Fandom or something like that, because WB is kind of tied within that app ecosystem now, but like it's not really DC related, so I don't really see that happening, you know. So I think
Oh.
that
Keighley would get that over Xbox, though.
I don't know, like they announce big third-party games and showcase big third-party games sometimes at these first-party shows. It's part of the
Yeah, it's
marketing
just-
deals that they make.
I just like,
If
a lot of
Xbox has
third
marketing
parties-
rights on it.
yeah.
yes.
I mean, Diablo 4 has been at the Xbox showcase a couple times now, right? That's one of the biggest games. And you got to look at who has the marketing rights for the other fighters out there. I think Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 are both marketing rights with PlayStation. I think Microsoft really wants some marketing rights on Mortal Kombat 12, which they've also had a kind of relationship with them in the past with that kind of stuff as well. So I would say Mortal Kombat 12 has a very strong chance at being at the Xbox show. If it's not there, it'll be at the Keighley's. Then also, I like the Armored Core 6 thing being there. They've already been marketing it, right? So that will probably be there. It's coming out in August. Even if it's not in Game Pass, I almost guarantee that's going to be at the showcase, right? Big From Software at your show is going to draw hype. Once you see the From Software logo pop up on the screen at a showcase, people will lose their shit. And we know they have marketing rights for Armored Core 6. At least I think they do. They do, right? I mean,
don't know for sure.
They keep marketing it. Sarah
But
Bond,
they keep, like I said, Sarah Bond tweeting it out was like
they
indicator.
keep talking about it. It keeps showing up with their stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not
Did the same
100%.
thing for Naraka and
Right.
Wo Long. So and Lies of P. So there's probably smoke where there's fire.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they want that from Software hype. They tried to get it with Elden Ring. They tried to get the marketing rights with
There
Elden
was
Ring.
a deal, according to
Something
Grubb,
fell
something
apart,
happened.
right? So
Yeah.
I think this may be the makeup from Software to Xbox as well. Be like, yeah, okay, we'll give you this one because and with history there, all this kind of stuff as well. So those new announcements, we have a couple third party show ups, right? So far, as well. I think we are going to see something from Activision Blizzard there, regardless if the acquisition is there or not. I'm just gonna say most likely from the Blizzard side. Okay. Activision doesn't have a whole lot of stuff to show that would be very big hype inducing, but Blizzard has some stuff they could come out with. Diablo would have already released, so I'm gonna chalk that aside. And
Unless if they do Tony Hawk remake like 2 or whatever.
They could. That would be a big moment. That would be a fun one if they did that. They could also do a different Blizzard game announcement, like or update. That what's the survival game that we know is in the works, right? Micah Ford has alluded to other games that could be in the works. They could announce something else that we're not expecting as well.
I think he just tweeted. I think it was today that he like teased that he's gonna like be like there's gonna be a BlizzCon this year or something. So.
And I think whatever it is, Microsoft have marketing rights on it. Obviously it'll be at the show, regardless of this deal goes through or not. And it's going to start to show that there's already relationship building between them and working together with that kind of stuff on the games that they can, right? That are already under contract with Sony.
Well, they burned the fucking bridge with Sony. So.
Exactly. And if they have new games, who are they going to go to? Right? They're not going to go to Nintendo. Like they got to go to you're going to Microsoft.
Well, Overwatch is on the Switch.
They want that big They want that big marketing money, regardless if the acquisition goes through. So I think we see something from Activision Blizzard there. Now they do also do their own stuff as well, like in their own shows. So like
Call of Duty is going to get revealed at its own event.
Exactly. Yeah, Call of Duty will have its own thing in August or whatever, September. So those are kind of like the bigger third party stuff. I think that we're going to get maybe 3 of those games on that list from Phil. I hope to God Psycho's right and it's 5. That would be amazing. That's like my wish list. I've already talked about this with Pong and these guys before. Is like I want every single one of those games they showed us in 2020, the 5, all those games, to be there. We know Forza's going to be there, right? Forza's got to be there. So check that one off. Besides that, you got to have an update on some of your most anticipated ones from that list, I think. So I say go all out. After that 2022 that they had last year, I think they're going to bring the heavy hitters to this show. I think they're going to give 1 potentially to the KhAOs and still have 2 more of these big games, at least at their show, maybe 3 of them. So Perfect Dark would make more sense for the KhAOs because they've already had Perfect Dark at a KhAOs showcase. Right? So you go again to the KhAOs for that one. But besides that, you have Fable and Contraband and Avowed. At this, you save Hellblade 2. Hold on. I know what you're saying. You save Hellblade 2 because you're going to announce at this show a developer direct coming later this year for Hellblade 2. Which will be launching this holiday.
That all makes sense.
That'd be nice.
But you still show Hellblade 2.
Okay.
That's what I literally said that. I was like,
Yeah,
you show a little
yeah,
trailer.
you still
and then
show a
have
little
direct.
trailer.
Right. You give it the release date, and then you say developer direct whenever. November, October,
Fair enough.
whatever. Right.
Fair enough. You're right. Phil said Hellblade 2 in his thing. So show Hellblade 2 and then announce a developer direct focused
You
on
just don't go
Hellblade
deep
2
into Hellblade.
later
You just
this
show a
year.
bit.
And then with the potential like December release date. I think we get it at this showcase. I think we get an announcement of the, because I think there is going to be another developer direct this year. So I think they would wait potentially to announce the release date for Hellblade at the developer direct. It's possible. I hope we get it at the showcase, but I think it's more likely that we get it at the developer direct, right? I don't know. What do you guys
I still
think?
think Hellblade is March next year.
Are we going to have Marchers 2.0 next year? I hope there's a big release that we can have this again.
I think Hellblade they're going to be their big opening game for next year, followed by like either Avowed or something. Yeah.
Avowed, yeah. No, Matt and I talked about last night. It's either Hellblade 2, either the way Phil said it, either it squeaks in at the end of the year or it's January, February, somewhere in that neighborhood to start the year, and then you've got Avowed in April, May. And I think that's kind of the path, because again, his confidence level of 1 per quarter was off the charts when he said it. Mav and I both picked up on it. A lot of people picked up.
And
on
if you have Starfield in the fall and then you have Forza in like the winter, like then that only leaves you with next year left.
Technically speaking, yes. Yeah. I'm just saying they could squeak Hellblade in if they really want to. But yes,
when you look at the energy that Phil had when he did that too, that's the biggest key. It's not, he wasn't like, yeah, we're gonna have, it was
finally. He said finally.
And it's like when you're in that mode of like trying to instill a point, trying to make a point of confidence and that this is finally going to happen and we have these, you're running down in a specific thing in your mind. That's just like a psychological thing. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just saying, like,
You don't have to be.
it just makes
human
sense.
nature.
That's the energy
With
that
the-
I would do, you know,
With
like
the Hellblade thing, do you think that they've learned their lesson with the stupid Game Awards bullshit where they're like, if you put it after November 21st or whatever, you can't get the fucking Game Awards. So, like, do they just hold Hellblade till the next year so they can be eligible for that?
I don't think they're concerned per se, but yeah, it's possible. Like I said, Jasper, your point about Forza, and it's something we talked about too. It makes sense. Like one per quarter, like he said it in a specific order. The only reason why I say Hellblade 2 can sneak in there is because his first grouping included Hellblade 2, which seemed like he was focused on this year, and then psychologically he included Avowed later, thinking about next year, right? So that's
That makes sense.
right, you know what I'm saying? But I think that Hellblade 2 could be early next year, like January, February, like I was saying. To your point, then it would be eligible and everything would be good. I don't think
I'm sure they don't really give a shit about that, but
they really don't give a shit about that at the end of the day. Starfield's going to be there. I mean, again, this year, it's a slaughter fest anyway. So it's like, who knows? But again, the confidence, the main takeaway is the confidence that one per quarter is now starting to happen, and that he again has seen the roadmap and he's seen where everything lines up. And like I said last night, I think it's now to that point where we talked about, like, yes, delays happen. We saw this year the 12-month thing did not work out. The 12-month plan backfired on them. But the fact that he was so confident one per quarter, he now sees the potential, there's going to be enough games that even if one does get delayed, he can still say confidently, I'm going to have a game in there that one per quarter is going to hit. And I think that's the exciting part right now. We're on that path.
Yeah.
So.
And what was the list again? He said Starfield.
Yep.
Forza.
Yep.
Hellblade.
Avowed. Yep.
Which is what we guessed all along within the big hitters, right?
Yep.
So I think that we get
smaller games in there. He said that there's collections of games that he's seen. So there's a couple other things he threw in there that were kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the major ones.
Wow. Well, this has been Game Shark says this is some fun speculation. Yeah, it's absolutely has been.
Do you think that's why they got Redfall out, is so they can start the quarter shit? Because they knew if they held Redfall that they could have 2 a quarter that would like kind of break their whole thing, and they would have to move stuff around like even more, maybe.
I don't know, because eventually, like I said, it's going to be more than one per quarter eventually.
No, I was thinking ABK for sure. Like,
well, yeah, but even now with 23 studios and 2 projects per, eventually it's going to get to the point where they got.
But not all those games are going to be like big AAA stuff.
No. There'll be stuff like Hi-Fi Rush in there. There'll be stuff like that in there.
Double Fine's games are probably a lot. They may go back to making smaller titles too.
I'll throw one last one out there. Is just a really big dark horse. If they're going to do something in Fallout, if they're going to give it to Obsidian, if they're going to do something in between and allow somebody to do a New Vegas, whether it's In Exile or Obsidian, you might want to tease it.
Yeah.
Because you're getting Starfield out. Everybody's going to be waiting on Elder Scrolls 6, and then Fallout is fucking 9 years away, okay?
Yeah.
So if you're going to do something in between...
The TV show?
You talked about it. Yeah, the TV show. Right. And you've got that coming.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that you have a game in between to hold everybody over from another studio.
Well, I think that
maybe.
Is the TV show, does that come out this year?
Yeah, it comes out this year.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they're done. Aren't they almost? Oh, no, they're not done filming. But I think they're close. We've seen more and more from it. So.
Oh, and there's going to be one amazing hype-inducing RTS game at the show.
Star Wars. We're getting it. It's gonna be amazing.
Well, this is
Age of Empires 4 update. Yeah.
Yes.
Age of Mythology.
No.
No. Age of Empires 4 first, and then they'll talk about
Age
of Mythology
later. So much.
I know it's coming. It'll be next year for console. I'm sure.
I think they probably show us a small trailer at Gamescom or whatever they do for that. Also, there is an Age 4 thing. The new season of Age 4. I don't know when it comes out or whatever, but they're having some mythology stuff in there, so look out for that. They had like a little giant, and they had the Loch Ness monster and some other like mythical creatures. So they're kind of teasing that mythical train.
Yep.
Nice.
Can't wait.
Mythical. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching this show. This has been some fun speculation. This has been Xbox Ultimate Podcast. I'd like to thank everybody in this chat. Had over 170 something people in here at one point. So you guys rock. Thanks all for the support, for being here each and every week and having fun with these discussions with us. And if you listen on audio platforms, appreciate you as well. And leave a review if you do like the show on audio. It helps people find us. And can't wait to have more shows next week and have some more discussions on gaming. Let's get this panel out of here because I'm sure after this 3-hour, 12-minute show, these guys are ready to get the hell out. Bob, where can everybody find you, bro?
You can find me here on YouTube. I'm trucking towards 1,000. I'm making more full-length videos and always making shorts. And I'll be streaming this weekend on Twitch, Game Pass Dad on all the social medias, Twitter, playing Redfall tomorrow. Got a show on Sunday. I'll be back here every time I can make it. Thank you for having me, everybody.
Stop capping for Redfall, Bob. You're not allowed to play
I'm
it, man.
capping so hard. I'm going to show off all the glitches. I'm going to lift the dress and I'm going to... You want to know the best thing, Mav? I didn't have to pay $70 to figure out it was a mistake. That's all I'll say. Closing argument.
Fuzzy.
That game blue screen my computer yesterday.
Oh, did it really? Oh my god.
Oh man, it wouldn't boot like the first 5 times I tried to boot it. After the
I
first
didn't
time
have
I
any
played.
problem booting it on my shitty PC, except for the PC app. Like I had to like do all this shit to get it to.
I was literally streaming the game and like a game crashed. I restarted and it blue screened my computer and crashed my fucking computers.
Oh no,
Oh, man.
so maybe I'll be streaming it tomorrow.
Your PC bit back. Fuzzy, where can everybody find you, bro?
It was awesome being on here with you guys tonight. For those that just want to hear my endless rambles and rants, just follow me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also catch me tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Pong and PTK Blam on the Shop Podcast on PTK Blam's channel tomorrow. And then on Monday, you can catch me here on FSP at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to seeing you guys there.
Hold on, man. Appreciate you as well. Jasper. All right, let's get... Sorry.
Yep.
I went out of order. Psycho. I'm going like in the... I don't want to lose track. Psycho, where can everybody find you, bro?
Yeah, tonight it's been a great night. Thanks everybody for coming out. And what I went for another
Just
smoke.
the way you started the.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out, chats. It's always a pleasure. Tonight was great. Bob, was awesome to have you on again. And yeah, if you guys check out my social media page, Psychonauts 8 on Twitter, I posted that I made a Starfield glow in the dark tumbler. So check that out if you like it. Let me know.
You can't have it.
Nice.
So yeah, check me out there here every Monday at 10 o'clock on FSP, and of course Fridays Xbox Ultimate at 10 o'clock. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Jasper,
sir.
what about you, man?
Yo. Check it out. Lord Jasper, Twitter, Lore Master Jasper, YouTube, all that fun stuff. AI Game News, Twitter for your game news updates. And what else do we got? It's Monday and Friday right here, Fun Speculation Network, 10 o'clock Eastern, both days. That's where I'm at, FSP and Xbox Ultimate right here. Yo.
Pong, I have something to tell you before we do your outro. You know, I've been really into baseball, right?
You've had me muted this whole time, right?
No.
Okay.
No, I've been really into the show and playing the show and
Yeah.
baseball and stuff.
Yes.
And so there's a baseball game that I've liked in this last several years.
Oh yeah.
The
Called
EA one?
Yeah, well,
Super mega-
it's EA now, right? Because they bought the developer and bought the rights to the game. Before it was Super Mega Baseball 1 through 3, right? So they just announced 4 is coming in June.
Yeah.
I think Xbox has the marketing rights because they put the trailer on their YouTube channel today. We'll see. It's an EA published game now. These games have been in Game Pass in the past, I believe,
Yes,
as
they
well. Now, the cool thing here is, do you remember All Pro Football 2K8?
All Pro Football 2K8?
Yeah, so remember ESPN NFL 2K5 was the last 2K game.
Yes.
They
Yeah,
skipped
yeah, yeah.
2 years
Yes.
because they lost NFL license.
Yes. No, I have it actually.
So
I think I
All
said-
Pro
on 360?
Football, All Pro Football
Yes.
came out,
And
and
Barry Sanders and John Elway.
they got
on the
all
cover.
these legends and stuff to fill in the roster.
Yeah.
So the thing about Super Mega Baseball before is they didn't have any real players, right?
Right.
They just
correct,
had these cartoonized characters.
Yeah.
They still are
Yeah.
that cartoonized characters, but in this game, what they did with this new EA budget,
Yeah.
they got over 200 former legendary baseball players
Are you
to
serious?
fill in the roster.
That's
So
freaking
this is
awesome.
feeling like that All Pro Football 2K8
Yeah,
energy
yeah.
from
Yes.
Super Mega Baseball 4, which is a fantastic playing baseball game. If you like
Yes.
baseball games, you got to play this. They expanded it to be a much bigger game than it's ever been before.
That's super
The
cool. man.
trailer looks fucking hype. I thought you might appreciate it.
Yes, no,
Uh,
I appreciate it because I don't watch baseball. I don't follow baseball, none of that. But my buddy used to be into baseball cards heavy, and we used to collect cards together because I collected football cards. So I knew all my old baseball players from back in the day, and I always do enjoy baseball video games. I used to play MLB every year. I haven't done it as much, but yeah, no, that sounds awesome. I played Super Mega Baseball. It's freaking awesome. I love that game.
Yeah. And this is
Yeah.
going to be a little bit more. It's like $50 instead of
okay.
30.
Of course,
But for what the extra
With the
budget, everything they're
licenses.
doing, and all this stuff, I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be worth it. I'm super
I
excited.
can't wait
about
to see
that
the list
announcement.
of players. I can't wait to see
Yeah.
the list. Of
And it's
players.
coming out in less than a month. I'm actually really hyped about this. Like,
Yeah. awesome.
yeah, they got
It's
yeah,
like come out in June.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
coming out June 2nd.
Ooh,
They
that's
have
Diablo.
Diablo.
Not playing
I
it.
know,
Yeah.
they got Vladimir Guerrero, Johnny Damon, Ozzie Smith, Jason Giambi, or just some of the ones they mixed.
Yeah.
They got David Ortiz as well.
Nice.
Big Poppy. So yeah. Anyway, cool.
Ozzie Smith. That's sweet. All right, cool.
Where can
awesome.
everybody find you, Pong?
Great show tonight, brothers. Lots to discuss. I mean, we didn't even get to a lot of it. I mean, again, this was such a big week overall. It's been, again, here, you're going to get both sides. It's not going to be doom and gloom because we're all still extremely excited and optimistic for what Xbox has got going on. But I love hearing everybody else's thoughts too. Again, there's been a lot of people talking with different perspectives, and we got some different ones tonight as well. Chat, you guys are absolutely amazing. Chat's going crazy. Lots of good conversation in there. I again appreciate all of you for showing up and giving us the love. Listen, folks, quick side note. Starfield got rated today, everybody, if you didn't see it. Starfield got rated by the ESRB. It is M for mature for violence, blood, which is something we did not see in the trailer, which was interesting, but they are going to have blood, suggestive theme, strong language, and use of drugs, which is all that Psycho cared about. So that is all going to be in
Fish
there.
City.
It is M-rated. But the thing that I brought up today, which is interesting when you think about it, we are 4 months away literally from Starfield, which is the same amount of time we were when we started the Marcher movement after the November original release date. So we have already gotten to this point,
We
folks.
closed the gap.
We've closed the gap. We have evened it out. 4 more months. It's going to be here. Oh, boy. I can't wait. God dang it. It's going to be generational. It's going to be that 11 out of 10. Calling it now. I could be wrong, but I believe in it. So excited for that. But anyways, everybody, Pong Soul on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. Tomorrow morning, Living Split Screen, my brother from another Steel Rain, and I are going to wake you up. So be there. Tell a friend. Bring a friend because we are Mission 1K. 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Living Split Screen, all one word. And then tomorrow night, it's going to be episode 301 because we celebrated episode 300 last week over on PTK Blam's channel. Mav was there. Cognito dropped on in. So go check out that show. Unfortunately, PTK internet crashed on him at the end of the show. So we had to end episode 300 without the man. But he'll be back tomorrow night. PTK Blam, Fuzzy Belvedere, myself, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. And this week, we got another Lord joining us. Lord Sov is going to be in the shop. So it's going to be a blast tomorrow night. Be there. And then next week, it starts all over. You already know. Xbox Factor Podcast, All Good Things Green, every Tuesday, Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick. 5 days a week, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time on Tuesdays, though. Always has a great show. And then Thursday nights, right back here, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. Again, like Mav said, if you want to hear some more deep dive from me and Mav on the entire interview, Go check out last night's show. We went for 4 hours. It was typical me and Matt. We got rolling and we just couldn't stop talking. So anyways, check out PM and the PM, but we are there every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. Listen, folks, it's the golden age of gaming. It's a wonderful place to be. I didn't get my intro. Age of Wonders 4. If you want a 4X strategy game is freaking amazing. Go play it. It does have performance issues. I'm not going to lie to you about that. There are some performance issues, but it's nothing game killing. Go enjoy Age of Wonders 4. I almost said Age of Empire. Oh, Age of Wonders 4. Amazing, amazing 4X strategy. Get out there this weekend. Play what you love. Love what you play. I'm going to talk to y'all real soon. Mav, get us out of here.
Right on, man. Before we go, we got a $5 super chat from who other than to send in the last minute super chat. Then Vik The CLiCK. I appreciate you, Vic. Says, amazing episodes, guys. I'll be here getting ordered around by my girl, so I'll drink and pretend I can't hear. Pray for me that if Project Midnight is a new midnight club. Yeah, awesome. I'll make the prayer because that's what it would take.
Oh, man, by the way.
Wait, hold on. That's not what he said. I got my super chat dialogue box mixed up. He said, pray for me. And then somehow it added if Project Midnight is a midnight club. Yeah, I mixed up. Yeah, sorry, I put words into your mouth. That was the other super chat from Stay High FFF. Yeah.
By the way, Mav, it was awesome seeing you drop into TTS today too. By the way, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I was lurking, but I watched you drop in, and I'm like, Mav's dropping.
I've done that a couple times on there. It's I have fun with those guys because they're awesome. But yeah, sorry, Vic. I completely fucked up your super chat. Anyway, yeah, everybody, you rock. Have a good one. Who did we just lose?
Jasper. He just DM'd and said his internet crashed.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
He said good night, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Peace out, everybody. Later.
Later.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Later.
Yo. It's Jasper. Good night.